Chapter 1553. In the end, under the eager gazes of the male students, Mr. Chu forced a smile and waved his hand, indicating that the students could return to the classroom first. Go back to the classroom first. Gather at the field after lunch. In the afternoon, there will be a car to send you to Cheetah Bodyguard Company to meet with the students from the other military schools. After Mr. Chu said that, the male students turned around and left the office in groups of 2 or 3. Yun Jian, wait a minute, Mr. Chu called out to Yun Jian when the male students turned around and left the office. Yun Jian turned her head sideways and looked up at Mr. Chu. Although it's a friendly competition, the school knows what you're capable of. The school wants you to try your best to get first place in this friendly competition. It might be a little difficult. How confident are you? Mr. Chu asked Yun Jian. Yun Jian narrowed her eyes. For some reason, Mr. Chu felt nervous for a moment. In the next second, Yun Jian suddenly broke into a smile and said confidently, I'll win. Seeing Yun Jian return to the classroom from the office, Lin Wan was worried that Yun Jian had been called to the office by the homeroom teacher and was scolded. Seeing Yun Jian's relaxed and nonchalant expression, Lin Wan could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. She's probably been scolded by the teacher. How long is she pretending to be calm? Slashing God from Team Monarch? I think she's just a so-so. Lin Shuya, who had always been at odds with Yun Jian, sat with a few other girls in the class and used exaggerated words to provoke Yun Jian. Ever since Yun Jian stole the limelight, Lin Shuya had been displeased with Yun Jian. However, Yun Jian had never bothered with Lin Shuya. In the last class in the morning, after the teacher announced the end of class, Yun Jian had just stood up when she heard a few girls in the classroom holding their faces and screaming. They were screaming so loudly that their bodies were trembling violently. Ah! Who's that guy? He's so handsome. Oh my God. Too handsome. Is he from our school? Why haven't I seen him in school before? The girls in the class screamed. Yun Jian didn't need to think to know that it was CE. If it was an ordinary high school boy, hearing so many girls screaming at him, he would have already flown into the air. However, CE was different. No matter how pretty or seductive the girls around him were, he only had eyes for Yun Jian. The people sitting around him were just a mass of air. CE walked directly into Yun Jian's classroom in front of everyone. He then reached out his slender hand to grab Yun Jian's small hand and led her out. This scene made Lin Shuya so envious that she almost shouted out loud. CE dragged Yun Jian to the vice principal's office in Min City Military Academy. At this moment, the vice principal was combing his bald head. The vice principal was facing the mirror and using the comb to comb the few remaining strands of hair in the center of his head. As he carefully combed his hair, he accidentally lost another strand of hair. Oh my God, my hair. If this goes on, I'm going to become bald. The vice principal sorrowfully held up the strand of hair that he had accidentally combed. He pinched the strand of hair with his fingertips and tried to put it back on his head. Bang! Before the vice principal could put the strand of hair back on his head, the door was suddenly kicked open, making a loud noise. The vice principal's hand slipped and he accidentally stuffed the strand of hair into his mouth. Oh my God, pooey pooey pooey. Pooey pooey pooey. He almost swallowed the strand of hair. The vice principal spat several mouthfuls of saliva before spitting out the strand of hair. Just as he came back to his senses, he saw a handsome man holding a girl's hand standing in front of him. I also want to participate in the friendly competition. He saw the handsome man walk in front of him and spit out these words. The vice principal raised his head and suddenly saw that the door to his office not far away had been broken by the handsome man's kick. The door had flown directly into his office. Seeing this, the vice principal was so scared that his butt slipped and he almost fell off his seat. Chapter 1554. The vice principal had already slid to the ground. He gripped his desk tightly to prevent himself from falling on his butt. The vice principal was a funny person. He usually played around with his classmates and had a lot of fun. The only drawback was that he was bald and had very little hair. The vice principal of Min City Military Academy was usually not in the school, so many things were decided by the vice principal. At this moment, the vice principal was so shocked by CE's actions that his face turned red and purple. You, which class are you two from? This, you guys are holding hands, you guys, you two, oh my god, did you two come to my office to show off your love? Don't you know that I've been catching couples in school these past few weeks? The vice principal didn't pay attention to CE's words. His attention was attracted by CE and Yunjian's tightly held hands. The school had a rule that stated that dating was not allowed. During this period, the vice principal had been patrolling around the school to catch couples who didn't follow the school rules. In the end, CE and Yunjian did it. What did they do? They held hands and ran to his office to show off their love? Are you kidding me? The vice principal stood up with a hand on his chest. He had lived for so many years and had been the vice principal for so many years. This was the first time he saw a couple in school showing off their love in his office. Old man, I'll say it again. I'm also participating in the friendly match this afternoon. CE ignored the vice principal's words and said directly. What? You want to participate in the friendly match this afternoon? Which class are you two from? What's your name? I'll deduct points from your class. Io, how dare you call me an old man? Although I'm really an old man, you're bullying me. The vice principal said as he stroked his chest, looking as though he had been dealt a heavy blow. CE. He only said his name. Okay. CE, right? I'll remember it. You're still calling me an old man. I'll remember it and deduct points. What? CE. Your name is CE. When the vice principal said the first half of the sentence, he was still looking for the booklet on his desk to record the weekly demerit points. However, he suddenly realized that the second half of the sentence was actually a cry of surprise. You said your name is CE? The vice principal was so shocked that he almost bit his own tongue. He stared at CE in shock. CE didn't say a word as she tossed her student ID to the vice principal. The vice principal opened it and glanced at it. He almost fainted. The principal of Min City's military academy had warned him repeatedly that no matter who he offended, he should never offend a student named CE. Give him whatever he wants. Otherwise, the Min City Military Academy would be finished. In the afternoon, right after lunch, CE helped Yunjian carry her school bag. There were some of her clothes in the bag, and the two of them walked to the sports field. The boys whom she had met in the office just now were already standing there waiting for her. When they saw Yunjian, their faces darkened. They looked at her as if they were certain that Yunjian would be a burden. When they saw CE, one of the male students who had previously mentioned Yunjian shouted, "You're a transfer student. Why are you here?" This male student was CE's classmate. His name was Wang Kuan. Wang Kuan was the strongest male student in the third year of high school, so he was very confident and felt that he was great. When he saw CE, Wang Kuan couldn't believe his eyes. How could a transfer student like CE, who only had a good appearance, join the friendly match this time? CE didn't respond. Ahem. There's a new student. Everyone, get ready to set off. The bus is here. Teacher Chu was the teacher in charge, so he coughed lightly and urged everyone. Chapter 1555. Wang Kuan's words immediately gained the approval of the other male students. That's right. What's wrong with the school this year? Not only did they get a female freshman to participate in the friendly competition, they even allowed a transfer student to participate. Now, we don't even know if the transfer student is strong or weak. The school is really too much. Another male student said. Wang Kuan, aren't you the strongest in our school? When we reach the cheetah bodyguard company later, they will definitely know what fear is. You have to do what you did last year and bring glory to our school. Then, you have to bring us back with the third place among all the military academies. A male student standing beside Wang Kuan patted Wang Kuan's shoulder and said confidently. Of course. Last year, I brought everyone to third place among all the military academies. This year, I will definitely bring everyone back with the second place among all the military academies. Wang Kuan gestured confidently. Last year, Min City Military Academy only got third place among all the military academies. Last year, it was also Wang Kuan who led the team because Wang Kuan was indeed strong. After all, there were more than a dozen military academies participating in the friendly competition. Getting third place was already impressive enough. Today, when they heard Wang Kuan say that he was confident of getting second place among all the military academies, the dozen male students were all fired up. One must know that there were more than a dozen military academies participating in the friendly competition. To get second place was definitely considered outstanding. As for getting first place among all the military academies, this was something that they did not even need to think about. It was definitely impossible. Why did they say that? The answer was very simple. Among these dozen military academies, there was a school called Taiji Military Academy whose students were quite strong. How strong were they? In the friendly competition every year, Taiji Military Academy always got first place without any suspense. Therefore, Wang Kuan's thoughts of getting first place were immediately dispelled. To be able to get second place was already very, very impressive for Wang Kuan's group. Wang Kuan's group of male students talked confidently, working hard to get second place among all the military academies. However, this group of people did not know that just now in the office, Yun Jian had already promised Teacher Chu that she would definitely win if she got first place among all the military academies. While they were talking, Yun Jian, CE, and the others had already boarded the long-distance bus to the airport. After transferring from the airport, they finally arrived at Pu City in He Province after a 2-hour flight. He Province was far away from Zhe Province, but it only took 2 hours by plane. The Cheetah Bodyguard Company was located in Pu City, He Province. After getting off the plane, they took a bus and arrived at the Cheetah Bodyguard Company. The headquarters of the Cheetah Bodyguard Company was located in a tall building. As soon as Yun Jian, CE, and the others entered, Wang Kuan and the others couldn't help but exclaim. As expected of Cheetah Bodyguard Company. This place is too luxurious. Oh my God. Our 2 days of training will be here. Just thinking about it makes me excited. While Wang Kuan and the rest were shouting, they were already brought to the lobby of the Cheetah Bodyguard Company. There was a group of people standing in the hall. It was not hard to tell that these people were some of the strongest students from different military academies. At a glance, the people standing in the hall were all men. There were 1 or 2 girls. More than a dozen military academies had chosen their strongest students to participate in this competition. In total, there were more than 100 people here. More than 100 people, but there were only 1 or 2 girls. It could be seen that this was a battlefield for men. If a girl appeared here, she would only be looked down upon. Yo! If I'm not wrong, you're students from Min City Military Academy, right? TSK, what's wrong? You couldn't beat our super godly military academy last year and got third place. This year is even more impressive. You even brought girls to participate in the competition? You want to beat our super godly military academy? TSK, dream on. Chapter 1556. Lin Zigua. Just you wait. We will definitely surpass you this year. Wang Kuan and the others clenched their fists in anger when they heard the malicious words of the boy who walked up to them. The boy who came up to speak with bad intentions was called Lin Zigua. Lin Zigua was a student from the Super Godly Military Academy. In last year's friendly competition, Taiji Military Academy won first place. Second place was Super Godly Military Academy. Third place was Min City Military Academy. Last year, Wang Kuan's team almost got second place, but they were overtaken by Lin Zigua's team at the last moment. After that, every time they met Lin Zigua, Wang Kuan's team would be mocked and ridiculed. As time went by, grudges were formed. Tisk, TSK, what can you use to surpass us? This little girl? Do you want to surpass our super godly military academy with this little girl? Huh. Ha ha ha, don't be too funny. I think there's no one in your school. I'm dying of laughter. Ha ha ha. It's really too funny. You're kidding me. Lin Zigua suddenly pointed at Yunjian. He looked at Yunjian and laughed at Wang Kuan and the rest. A girl dares to participate in such a large-scale friendly competition? What kind of joke is this? This girl looks skinny and weak. She doesn't have any strength at all. Min City Military Academy might not even be able to keep third place this year. Pfft. Wang Kuan and the rest gritted their teeth in anger. Just then, Ce suddenly slapped away Lin Zigua's hand that was pointing at Yunjian. His cold eyes reflected a sharp murderous intent. Point at her again and I'll cut your head off. Normal people wouldn't emit such a terrifying aura. Lin Zigua was suddenly frightened by Ce's gaze and immediately shut his mouth. You just wait and see. Lin Zigua said as he ran away. Ce's aura surprised Wang Kuan and the rest, but they did not say much when they recovered from the shock. Gather. The instructor clapped his hands and signaled for everyone to quiet down. This is our Cheetah Bodyguard Company's chief bodyguard, Lin Kuei. He used to be one of the strongest special forces soldiers in the world. After he retired, he became our Cheetah Bodyguard Company's chief bodyguard. He once completed 9 extremely dangerous SSS-level missions with outstanding results, apprehended the world's top assassin, and captured an agent ranked 9th on the International Secret Agent ranking. He has participated in 21 international criminal gang arrest missions. His strength is one of the best in the world, let alone in Z country. The next 2 days of training will be led by our Cheetah Bodyguard Company's chief bodyguard, Lin Kuei. After the instructor finished speaking, more than 100 students from different military academies turned their gazes to this chief bodyguard called Lin Kuei. Lin Kuei was 1.9 meters tall. His muscular body and firm chest made people feel intimidated just by looking at him from afar. When Lin Kuei heard that the instructor had given him the responsibility, he stood up. Hello everyone, I'm Lin Kuei. I'll be leading you for the next 2 days. In order to not let anyone doubt my strength, the instructor will draw a student's name from the lucky draw box over there to fight with me. The paper in this lucky draw box has the names of all the students present. If the student who is drawn can withstand one attack from me, I swear that I will never call myself the chief bodyguard again. Lin Kuei said confidently. The instructor beside him immediately drew a piece of paper from the lucky draw box under everyone's gaze. Then, under everyone's expectant gaze, he announced the name on the paper, Yunjian. Why did this name sound like a girl's? The surrounding people were stunned. It was only when Yunjian walked towards Lin Kuei that the surrounding students widened their eyes in shock. Why did he draw a girl? This girl was so thin and weak. She wanted to fight Lin Kuei? What kind of joke was this? Even Lin Kuei was stunned for a moment. When Lin Kuei came back to his senses, he coughed lightly and said to Yunjian who was walking towards him, Ahem, since you've drawn a little girl, you win if you can touch the corner of my shirt. Lin Kuei obviously wanted to give in to Yunjian. No need, Yunjian shouted from the other side. After saying that, Yunjian spoke again in the next second. Wang Kuan, who was standing in the distance, and everyone around him suddenly widened their eyes. Chapter 1557. When Yunjian said such arrogant words, Lin Kuei, who was standing not far away from her, was stunned. The surrounding students from military academies from all over the country were all stunned. When they heard about Lin Kuei's battle record, all the male students were already excited. Lin Kuei was a special forces soldier who had dealt with international criminals. He had even captured the 9th on the International Secret Agent list alive. This kind of capital and ability was enough to scare any student present. Therefore, everyone present was 100% confident in Lin Kuei's ability. However, at this time, the person who was chosen to represent everyone was actually a girl. When they found out about this, all the boys were already certain that Yun Jian would not be able to survive one move from Lin Kuei. Because Lin Kuei's battle record was there for all to see. Therefore, when Lin Kuei said that if Yun Jian could touch the corner of his shirt, it would be her win, this sentence made the surrounding boys' blood boil. Lin Kuei was indeed the chief bodyguard of the Cheetah Bodyguard Company. His words were so domineering. So cool. However, before the surrounding people could react, Yun Jian had already spoken. She actually said to Lin Kuei that the person who could not survive one move from her was him. For a moment, there was a deathly silence, and then a roar of laughter rang out. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. I'm dying of laughter. Ha ha ha. What did she say? She actually said that the person who could not survive one move from her was Lin Kuei? Did she not listen to Lin Kuei's battle record? Lin Kuei's ability is enough to kill her in seconds. She's also a girl. Ha ha ha. I'm dying of laughter. I'm dying of laughter. The person who was laughing was Lin Zigua from the Super Godly Military Academy. As a student of the Super Godly Military Academy, Lin Zigua had always been in a hostile state with the Min City Military Academy. Today, with Yun Jian's performance, Lin Zigua had found a way to mock the Min City Military Academy, so he took the lead to jeer. Immediately, other people followed suit, and for a moment, there was only laughter left. Ce stood not far away with a calm expression. Although he was as calm as a mountain, he had already memorized every face that mocked Yun Jian and planned to throw them out after the friendly competition. Cough. Little girl, it's not that I, Lin Kuei, am looking down on you, but you're a girl. I'm really afraid of hurting you. Lin Kuei finally opened his mouth. He first coughed lightly before speaking. He paused for a moment before continuing, I'm sorry. How about this? You go down and get someone else to come up. If you can even touch the corner of my clothes within 3 moves, I'll consider it my loss. Before Lin Kuei could finish his sentence, he saw Yun Jian suddenly dash in front of him. Lin Kuei's pupils suddenly contracted. Before he could finish his sentence, Yun Jian had already launched her attack. Yun Jian's speed was simply too fast. In a flash, she was already beside him. When Lin Kuei saw this, his pupils constricted. He immediately realized that Yun Jian, the little girl in front of him, was no ordinary person. However, just as Lin Kuei reacted extremely quickly and made a defensive gesture, Yun Jian, who was already beside him, wrapped her hands around his arm like a snake's body. Yun Jian pulled Lin Kuei's arm forward. At the same time, she lifted her leg and kicked Lin Kuei in the abdomen. In the next second, in front of everyone, Yun Jian's 1.6-meter skinny body directly kicked the 1.9-meter tall big guy and sent him flying. This entire process only took a mere 3 seconds. When the students in the distance saw this scene, their bodies violently straightened. In the next second, their pupils contracted and their eyeballs almost fell out of their sockets. Lin Kuei was an astonishing existence who had once captured the 9th-ranked agent on the international secret agent rankings alive. As for Yun Jian, she was just an ordinary female student. She actually defeated Lin Kuei. One move? How was this possible? At this moment, they heard Yun Jian's heavenly voice again. Her voice carried a hint of indifference. Chapter 1558. Yun Jian's words reached the ears of Wang Kuan, Lin Zigua, Lin Kuei, and the rest who had looked down on Yun Jian for being a girl. There was only one thing that could be said about the fight just now. Regardless of whether it was Wang Kuan who came from Min City Military Academy like Yun Jian, Lin Zigua who was an enemy of Min City Military Academy, or Lin Kuei, the chief bodyguard of Cheetah Bodyguard Company. The most similar thing about them was that they looked down on Yun Jian. They looked down on Yun Jian because she was a girl. Yun Jian's move just now was a direct slap to their faces. Lin Kuei, who got up from the ground, was in a state of shock. How confident he was just now was how pathetic he was now. In front of so many people, he was sent flying by Yun Jian's kick without any mercy. Little girl. You. Where did you learn that move just now? The surrounding people were completely petrified. Only Lin Kuei got up from the ground pathetically and looked at Yun Jian in a daze. Yun Jian's move just now gave him a sense of déjà vu, self-taught. Yun Jian stood coldly on the spot, pursed her red lips, and said calmly. That move. I think I've seen it somewhere before. Where was it? Lin Kuei scratched his head when he heard that and fell into a state of recollection. The surrounding people were speechless. Each of them was so shocked by Yun Jian's move that their eyeballs almost fell out of their sockets. Wang Kuan was the most terrified among them. Wang Kuan was the strongest person in Min City Military Academy. This was publicly acknowledged by the Min City Military Academy. Hence, when he first saw Yun Jian, Wang Kuan had a feeling that he was superior. In addition, Wang Kuan looked down on girls. In Wang Kuan's mind, what use could a girl be? Other than being a burden, a girl was useless. Other than showing off his prowess in front of the girls and receiving a few screams of, "Wow, you're so powerful," which gave him great satisfaction. What's the use of girls? Especially when they found out that Yun Jian was still a freshman in high school, Wang Kuan and the others only looked at Yun Jian with contempt. A female freshman wanted to represent Min City Military Academy in such a large-scale friendly competition? Was she here to drag him down? Therefore, at the beginning, Wang Kuan and the others despised Yun Jian as much as they could with Yun Jian. But until just now, Yun Jian's strength had completely overturned everyone's understanding. Wang Kuan even thought that even 10 of him wouldn't be a match for Yun Jian's move. Ce had already walked to Yun Jian's side in front of everyone. He pulled Yun Jian into his embrace in front of everyone, as though he was declaring his sovereignty over her. After Ce pulled Yun Jian into his arms, he stroked her hair that was slightly swaying in the breeze. He was silent for 2 seconds before speaking softly to Yun Jian in front of everyone. I won't allow anyone to look down on you. Otherwise, I'll kill them without mercy. In the lobby of Cheetah Bodyguard Company, a strong beam of sunlight shone in through the huge floor-to-ceiling window. The sunlight shone on Yun Jian and Ce as though they were the only 2 people left in the world. Their matching figures made Ce and Yun Jian seem to be more than just a handsome man and a beautiful woman. Lin Kuei's enlightened voice rang while the people around them stared at Yun Jian and Ce in bewilderment. What he said in the next second made everyone's jaws drop. I remember now. I remember now. I'll never forget this skill for the rest of my life. 3 years ago, I took part in an operation to capture the number 1 agent on the international secret agent ranking, slaying God. During that operation, I fought against the number 1 agent on the international secret agent ranking, slaying God. Her strength was so amazing that I didn't even have a 0.00000001 chance of winning. Chapter 1559. Lin Kuei had a nagging feeling that he had seen Yun Jian's skills before, but he could not recall it no matter how hard he racked his brain. Just now, Lin Kuei had seen Ce wrap his arm around Yun Jian. The way they matched each other, it was as if the people around them were ants while they were kings and deities who saved them from torment. 2 words appeared in Lin Kuei's mind when he saw this scene. King. Yun Jian's ability. King. Lin Kuei had only faced one person in his entire life who had the ability of a king. That person was the number 1 on the international secret agent ranking, slaying God. That was a terrifying existence that made one's fingertips go numb from fear. Lin Kuei's earlier words popped up in his mind. He thought about it and said it out loud. The ability that Yun Jian had displayed earlier was beyond what a military high school student should be capable of. Instead, it was very similar to the terrifying existence in his memory. Lin Kuei was shocked as well. He was now in a state of stupor. Lin Kuei was shocked. However, at this moment, after hearing Lin Kuei's words, the shocked expressions of the surrounding students could no longer be described with words. The number 1 on the international secret agent ranking, slaying God? What kind of existence was that? That was an existence that struck terror into the hearts of others. Just the mere mention of this name was enough to make one tremble in fear. Most of the students present were from military schools all over the country. They were the most ordinary students in the military schools. The number one on the international secret agent ranking, slaying God, that Lin Kuei mentioned, was an existence that no one present dared to imagine. That was a shocking and frightening existence. Therefore, when Lin Kuei mentioned that he had faced the number one on the international secret agent ranking, slaying God, and that slaying God's skills were on par with Yun Jian's, all the students around, including the instructors who were standing at the side, were shocked beyond words. The number one on the international secret agent ranking, slaying God? Slaying God's skills are on par with hers? Is this for real? Lin Ziguo was so scared that he couldn't be described as shocked. His eyes were wide open as he stared at the scene in front of him. He was the first to ask in shock. Everyone snapped back to their senses as soon as he said that. Their sharp eyes stared at Yun Jian as if they were waiting for Yun Jian's reply. Yun Jian's eyes flashed when she saw that everyone was looking at her. If I'm the number one on the international secret agent ranking, slaying God, do you think you can still stand in front of me and talk to me? Yun Jian's indifferent voice was heard as she spoke softly. Yun Jian's nonchalant voice seemed to have a magical power. Her words made everyone present feel at ease all of a sudden. It was undeniable that Ce had taught Yun Jian how to lie. She said slaying as she spoke. The people around them were at a loss when they heard what Yun Jian said. That's right. Slaying God doesn't look like you. I'm probably being too sensitive. Cough. Lin Kuei suddenly reacted. He scratched his head and thought about it. In the end, he felt that Yun Jian was right. However, even if you're not slaying God, it's an indisputable fact that you've defeated me earlier. I, Lin Kuei, am willing to admit it. From today onwards, I'll step down from my title as the chief bodyguard. Lin Kuei was a righteous man. He patted himself on the shoulder and calmly said those words. After he finished speaking, the people standing not far away had yet to recover from the shock. Lin Kuei had just finished speaking when he turned to look at Yun Jian in front of everyone and said something that shocked everyone. Chapter 1560. Although Lin Kuei looked down on women in the beginning, he was a man who dared to take responsibility for his actions. His strength and talent were on par with each other. When he told Yun Jian that he wanted to be her disciple, Lin Kuei's words were full of modesty and humility. When he said that he wanted to be Yun Jian's disciple, Lin Kuei didn't feel embarrassed in front of everyone. Although Yun Jian was young, Lin Kuei didn't feel that it was shameful for him to want to be Yun Jian's disciple. Being shameless was an important reason why Lin Kuei had the strength he had now. Lin Kuei didn't care about the reactions of the people around him. At this moment, Lin Kuei was looking straight at Yun Jian. He looked as if he was waiting for Yun Jian's reply. Lin Kuei really wanted to get an affirmative answer from Yun Jian. However, before Lin Kuei could get the answer he was looking for from Yun Jian's mouth, a mellow voice sounded. This magnetic male voice answered for Yun Jian first. She won't accept you. Why? Lin Kuei exclaimed immediately. Why wouldn't Yun Jian accept him? Because I won't allow it. Ce's flat voice sounded, causing Lin Kuei to be dazed for a moment. Ce's handsome face attracted attention wherever he went. Lin Kuei had already noticed Ce when Ce reached out to hug Yun Jian. Who are you to her? It's her choice whether to accept a disciple or not. Who are you to make the decision for her? Lin Kuei didn't have a good impression of Ce's tyranny. Lin Kuei believed that everyone had the right to make their own choices. Ce was handsome, but who knew if he was a gigolo? A gigolo who only had looks but no strength? Lin Kuei was already in his 40s. He wasn't good looking, but he was especially popular with girls when he was young. That was because Lin Kuei was strong. He believed that as a man, he could be ugly, but he definitely couldn't be like Ce, who only relied on his looks to attract girls. Therefore, when Ce stood up for Yun Jian and rejected him, Lin Kuei was upset. The more Lin Kuei looked at Ce, the more he felt that he was a gigolo. As soon as Lin Kuei finished speaking, Ce's sharp eyes swept over him. His hawk-like sharp eyes stared straight at Lin Kuei. At this moment, Lin Kuei felt as if he was being stared at by the Grim Reaper. Ce grabbed Yunjian's small hand and turned to look at Lin Kuei with a murderous glint in his eyes. This gaze caused Lin Kuei's entire body to tremble. If you dare to pester my woman again, the Cheetah Bodyguard Company will be destroyed because of you. Ce's sharp gaze made Lin Kuei break out in cold sweat. She didn't know why, but the man in front of her clearly looked like a pretty boy. How could he have such sharp eyes? Everyone standing in the distance was dumbfounded. Especially Wang Kuan and the others. Wang Kuan and the others were all students from Min City's military academy. The school didn't send them here to let Ce and Lin Kuei quarrel. Moreover, Lin Kuei was the chief bodyguard of the Cheetah Bodyguard Company. The Cheetah Bodyguard Company wasn't weak. Even Min City's military academy had to give them face. But what about Ce? He represented Min City's military academy. In the end, he said such words to Lin Kuei in front of everyone. Wasn't he just looking for trouble? Just as Wang Kuan was about to growl at Ce and tell Ce not to cause trouble, a loud voice beat Wang Kuan to Ce. Let's see who dares to touch my Cheetah Bodyguard Company. When everyone heard this loud voice, they couldn't help but turn their heads. They saw a well-dressed middle-aged man in a formal suit entering the Cheetah Bodyguard Company's main entrance with a group of men dressed as bodyguards behind him. When this well-dressed middle-aged man entered the arena, everyone turned to look at him. The middle-aged man walked in with a dignified air. Seeing this middle-aged man, even Lin Kuei felt a sense of respect. He lowered his head to the middle-aged man and said, "Chairman." That's right, the middle-aged man who was shouting at Ce was the chairman of the Cheetah Bodyguard Company, Wen Jintian. At this moment, Wen Jintian ignored Lin Kuei who was shouting at him. He walked straight to Ce. Although he was shorter than Ce, he pretended to be domineering and shouted at Ce. Chapter 1561. Wen Jintian had just walked in when he heard Ce's voice. He actually said that he wanted to destroy the Cheetah Bodyguard Company. Youngsters these days were so young, yet they were so arrogant. Wen Jintian was instantly enraged. Hence, he walked straight in through the main entrance. He didn't even greet Lin Kuei as he directly shouted at Ce. When the surrounding people heard Lin Kuei address Wen Jintian as chairman, they all reacted. This was probably the chairman of the Cheetah Bodyguard Company. Everyone had witnessed Yunjian's capabilities, but in their eyes, Ce was just a weak gigolo. Furthermore, Wang Kuan and the others knew that Ce was a transfer student. They didn't even know if he had any capabilities. How dare he be so arrogant? And he even said that he wanted to destroy the Cheetah Bodyguard Company? He must be dreaming. How could he destroy the Cheetah Bodyguard Company? Did he think that he was some powerful legendary figure? More importantly, the moment Ce said that he wanted to destroy the Cheetah Bodyguard Company, the chairman of the Cheetah Bodyguard Company happened to overhear it. Ce must have a death wish if the chairman of the Cheetah Bodyguard Company overheard it. The surrounding people were horrified just by looking at it, let alone Ce himself. When the chairman of the Cheetah Bodyguard Company, Wen Jintian, entered the room, it was obvious that he was angered by Ce. He didn't even have time to respond to Lin Kuei's greeting before he stared straight at Ce and shouted what he had just said. The surroundings were completely silent. Wen Jintian's aura was strong. After he spoke, the students present didn't dare to say another word. Wen Jintian had always been confident in his aura. He turned his head to look at Ce. Seeing that Ce was indifferent to what he had just said, he couldn't hold it in any longer. He spoke again with a slightly heavy tone. "Which military school are you from? Go back now. Our Cheetah Bodyguard Company doesn't accept gigolos like you. I don't care if young people nowadays use their appearance to put on airs. But in my Cheetah Bodyguard Company's territory, I won't allow you to put on airs in front of me." Wen Jintian wanted to chase them out without a second word. His tone was so tough that even if CE apologized on the spot, he would never forgive him. Chairman. Chairman. It was his fault just now. Let's see if we can forgive him. I'm sure he won't dare to do it again. The leading teacher of Min City's military academy hurriedly ran to Wen Jintian to beg for forgiveness. The status of the Cheetah Bodyguard Company was one of the best in the world. As for Wen Jintian, as the chairman of the Cheetah Bodyguard Company, the people he dealt with were all international big shots. Therefore, no matter who they provoked, they would never provoke him. Everyone present was well aware of this. However, everyone thought that CE was stupid. He actually said those words in front of Wen Jintian. According to Wen Jintian's personality, he naturally wouldn't forgive CE. Moreover, Wen Jintian was short and ugly. Looking at CE's young and handsome face, Wen Jintian was envious of him, but he wouldn't say it out loud. Young people should be responsible for their words and actions. He has to leave. Wen Jintian glared at CE with his round eyes. Old man, are you sure? CE, who was standing opposite him, said coldly with a smirk, Old man, are you sure? Old man? What? You called me old man? Which military school are you from? Let me tell you, you're expelled from your military school. How dare you call me old man, When Wen Jintian heard CE's words, he was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Not only did he plan to force CE to leave his Cheetah Bodyguard Company, but he also planned to use his influence to force CE to be expelled from Min City's military academy. In everyone's eyes, CE's actions were completely suicidal. Was he stupid? How dare he challenge Wen Jintian? Wen Jintian was a tough person. If someone said something wrong in front of him, Wen Jintian was the kind of person who wouldn't forgive them even if they were beaten to death. Just when everyone thought that CE was doomed for provoking Wen Jintian, a loud male voice suddenly came from the entrance. Then, Shui Ying's figure appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Chapter 1562. Shui strolled in from the entrance of Cheetah Bodyguard Company. His shoes made a shiny sound as they rubbed against the smooth floor. His words were heard by every student, the chairman of Cheetah Bodyguard Company, Wen Jintian, and all the bodyguards. Everyone shuddered in fear. The students might not know what kind of existence an Hun organization was. To them, organizations like an Hun organization and Kosha mercenaries didn't have much of an idea. Perhaps some of them had heard of them. However, to the chairman of Cheetah Bodyguard Company, Wen Jintian, who had been trying to curry favor with an Hun organization and gain some benefits from them, this was fatal news. Wen Jintian obviously knew Shui Ying. After hearing Shui Ying's words, he and Lin Kuei both looked at CE in fear. Young master? Then you are. Wen Jintian's mouth was full of shock. His pupils shrank as he stared at CE. Watch your mouth. If you say another word, Cheetah Bodyguard Company will be put on an Hun organization's must-kill list. Shui Ying shouted at Wen Jintian. This shout scared Wen Jintian so much that he shut his mouth. An Hun organization's must-kill list. What was a must-kill list? Any person or organization that was put on an Hun organization's must-kill list would be hunted down by an Hun organization. An Hun organization had so many world-class secret agents and assassins. Any person or organization that was put on an Hun organization's must-kill list would be hunted down by an Hun organization until their death was confirmed. Throughout history, no one had ever escaped the pursuit of an Hun organization's must-kill list. Without exception, they would all die. Therefore, an Hun organization's must-kill list had always been a taboo for the international bigwigs. Shui Ying's shout had succeeded in making Wen Jintian tremble. Seeing Wen Jintian take a step back, Shui Ying didn't have the time to chat with him. He strode towards CE and whispered something in CE's ear. CE's gaze sharpened. In the next second, he pulled Yun Jian's hand and walked out. Hey, you, what are you going to do? The teacher from Min City's military academy exclaimed when he saw CE and Yun Jian walking out. We'll take 2 days off and return on time for the friendly match, Ce said calmly without turning his head as he held onto Yunjian's hand. The teacher in charge of the Min City Military Academy had no idea what was going on. He opened his mouth, but in the end, he let Ce and Yunjian go. Students from military academies all over the country were arranged to train at the Cheetah Bodyguard Company. Their goal was to stand out in the friendly competition on the 3rd day. Yunjian's strength was already on display. Even the chairman of the Cheetah Bodyguard Company feared Ce's power. The teacher in charge of the Min City Military Academy didn't dare to stop them. He could only hope that Yunjian and Ce would come back as soon as possible. At this moment, Ce had already pulled Yunjian's small hand and walked out of the gate with Shuang. Shuang had only said 7 words to Ce: "There's an incident in Yulong mainland." Therefore, Ce and Yunjian immediately took Shuang and Mo-san to Yulong mainland. At this moment, Yulong mainland, the Huyan clan, the #1 aristocratic family of Yulong mainland, was celebrating at this moment. The patriarch of the Huyan clan, Huyan Ba, was standing in front of the Huyan clan's people, looking down at them. "Father, the Wu race has been defeated by my Huyan clan. Tomorrow, the Wu race will become the slaves of my Huyan clan." "Humph, I think that the legend of the return of the witch god is just empty talk." A 1.55 meters tall man was standing next to Huyan Ba. He looked old and fat. His face was full of indulgence. This man was Huyan Ba's son. His name was Huyan Lei. The legend of the return of the witch god is just a bluff. Humph. The Wu race is just a thing in my palm, Huyan Ba said confidently. Chapter 1563. It was no secret that Huyan Lu was addicted to beauty. Although Huyan Ba hated Huyan Lu's bad habit, he was still his son, so Huyan Ba could only nod. "Once the shaman race is dominated by my Huyan clan, you can do whatever you want with the shaman girls." Huyan Ba never cared about these things. All he wanted was to dominate. Back then, when the Murong family was suddenly destroyed by the sorcerer tribe, Huyan Ba was actually quite worried that the sorcerer god of the sorcerer tribe had returned. However, how could the sorcerer race allow the Huyan clan to sit on the throne of the #1 aristocratic family of the Yulong continent for so long if the sorcerer god of the sorcerer race were to return? Back then, the sorcerer god was extremely powerful. The god of sorcerer had decided that it was impossible for him to tolerate the Huyan clan sitting on the throne of the #1 aristocratic family. The sorcerer god had yet to return. The only possibility was that the sorcerer tribe had already obtained the sandalwood box. It was a sandalwood box that could destroy all the continents in the universe in an instant. However, Huyan Ba felt his eyelids twitching. He had a bad premonition. As for what this bad premonition was, he didn't know. The next morning, the sky of the Yulong continent was still in the early stages of dawn. However, the sorcerer race's palace had already been destroyed by the powerhouses sent by the Huyan clan. At that moment, the people of the sorcerer tribe were retreating to a mountain behind the sorcerer tribe palace. "Patriarch, we can't resist the Huyan clan's attack any longer. What should we do? Where is the sorcerer god? Would the sorcerer god come to his rescue? Will our witch race really be exterminated by the Huyan clan?" At the back of the mountain, everyone looked at Wu Lan, the tribe leader of the sorcerer tribe, and asked a terrifying question. There were many aristocratic families in the Yulong continent. Big aristocratic families like the Huyan clan and the sorcerer race weren't the only ones who were at war. The other small aristocratic families of the Yulong continent were also at war with each other. On the losing side, all the men in the clan would be killed, and the girls and women would become the slaves of the winning side. To put it bluntly, they were prostitutes. This was the eternal principle of the Yulong continent. Most of the members of the sorcerer tribe were women, and all of them were as beautiful as fairies. Outsiders had long been itching for them. As the leader of the sorcerer tribe, Wu Lan frowned. Lan Su was standing beside him, and Adam was also standing beside Lan Su. "As long as I'm here, nothing will happen to you." Adam frowned and said. He had spent some time with Lan Su in the Yulong mainland. Compared to before, he had become much more mature. But as long as Lan Su refused to be with him, Adam would still use his stubborn temper to force Lan Su to be with him. Adam wasn't without confidence when he said this. He was one of the 4 great guardians of the Lord Divine Lord. It was a pity that he had lost all of his spirit power. If he were to forcefully use his spirit power, he could still raise the Yulong mainland to the ground. However, he had lost his previous spiritual power. If he were to forcefully use his spiritual power now, he would never be able to recover it. Therefore, he wouldn't use his spiritual power until the very end. Lan Su's eyes twinkled. Suddenly, the voice of the Huyan clan's patriarch, Huyan Ba, was heard from the opposite side of the mountain. People of the shaman tribe, listen up. If you hand over the sandalwood box obediently, I won't make things difficult for you. But, if you don't hand over the sandalwood box, then, my Huyan clan won't be soft-hearted. It didn't matter whether the sorcerer tribe obediently handed over the sandalwood box or not. They couldn't escape the fate of becoming prostitutes of the sorcerer tribe. This was the so-called winner takes all. Huyan Ba was still shouting from the opposite side. Huyan Sua was rubbing his hands. He couldn't wait to experience the feeling of riding those delicate and tender girls of the sorcerer tribe under his body. Huyan Ba was standing on the opposite side of the mountain. He was looking at the sorcerer tribe. Then, a beautiful female voice was heard from behind him. It sounded like the sound of nature. It made Huyan Ba and all the people of the Huyan clan tremble. How dare you attack my sorcerer tribe while I'm not here? Huyan clan, how dare you? Chapter 1564. When Huyan Ba heard the voice that he had only heard 1,000 years ago, he was so scared that he quickly turned around. However, he saw an unfamiliar girl in short sleeves and long pants standing in front of him. Huyan Ba's brows were tightly knitted together. Thousands of years ago, when the sorcerer god was famous in the Yulong continent, Huyan Ba was still a rascal who was wandering in the Yulong continent. Therefore, Huyan Ba had never seen the sorcerer god at that time. Naturally, Yun Jian's appearance was also unfamiliar to Huyan Ba. Oh! What a beautiful little beauty! Huyan Lu, who was standing next to Huyan Ba, did not know the meaning of Yun Jian's words at all. The moment he saw Yun Jian, his eyes widened. The clothing of the Yulong continent was almost the same as the ancient costumes of Z country. Therefore, in the eyes of Huyan Lu and the others, Yun Jian's short sleeves were extremely revealing. Therefore, just by looking at Yun Jian's tender arms, Huyan Lu felt a certain part of his lower body erect. Huyan Lu felt that just by looking at Yun Jian's tender arms, he could not help himself. If this little beauty was lying under him. TSK. How ecstatic would that be? However, before Huyan Lu could have any thoughts about Yun Jian, CE, who was standing next to Yun Jian, stretched out his right hand. He raised his slender right palm and grabbed Huyan Lu's face from a distance of more than 10 meters. Pa pa pa. In the next second, a series of explosive sounds were heard. At the back of the mountain, the people of the sorcerer tribe, Wulan, Lan Su, Adam, and the people of the Huyan family, including Huyan Ba, were all present. They clearly saw Huyan Lu's eyeballs, who was standing in front of them and staring at Yun Jian. After CE stretched out his hand and grabbed him, his eyeballs instantly burst. In the next second, there were only 2 small holes where Huyan Lu's eyes used to be. His eyeballs disappeared without a trace. Ah! My eyes! Eyes! Ah! In the next breath, Huyan Lu's painful roar was heard. Huyan Lu fell to the ground and rolled on the ground in pain. This unforeseen event only took 1 second. CE's attack was so quick that no one there could react in time. Huyan Ba watched his son's eyeballs being crushed by CE in the air. By the time Huyan Ba reacted, his son, Huyan Lu, had already fallen to the ground and rolled. Initially, Huyan Ba was still considering that Yun Jian's familiar voice sounded very similar to the sorcerer god in the past. Now, however, he could not hold himself back anymore. Pfft, those were all people who had already died. Kill him, clan elder. The people of Huyan clan couldn't help but shout. Huyan Ba was the strongest person in Yulong mainland. His spiritual power was second to none. Therefore, the people of Huyan clan were very confident. Even Huyan Ba was confident that no one in Yulong mainland could rival him as long as the sorcerer god didn't appear. Just as Huyan Ba was 3 meters away from Ce, he had gathered his most powerful spiritual energy and was about to hurl it at Ce to kill him, but Ce was suddenly struck by lightning. The spiritual power that Huyan Ba had gathered in his hand disappeared in the next second under the watchful eyes of the people of Huyan clan. It disappeared? Only the sorcerer god can make an immortal cultivator's spiritual power disappear within 3 meters of him. In the next breath, everyone's eyes widened as they turned to look at Yunjian in shock. Chapter 1565. Huyan Ba's eyeballs were about to fall out of their sockets. Back then, Huyan Ba was confident that the sorcerer god could not return. Now, he was terrified that Yunjian was the sorcerer god. No, this is impossible. The sorcerer god cannot return. How is this possible? How is it possible for the sorcerer god to return? How is it possible for him to return? At this moment, Huyan Ba was shaking his head frantically. He was shaking his head in horror as he spoke these words. The sorcerer god could not return? Where did it go wrong? Didn't the sorcerer god fall completely? How could the sorcerer god still exist in this world? Are you surprised? When the Huyan clan tried to destroy the sorcerer tribe, it was the time for the Huyan clan to reach a dead end. Today, I will destroy the Huyan clan with my own hands and restore the sorcerer tribe's throne as the #1 family in the Yulong continent. After Yunjian finished speaking, she took out the god-vanquishing blade that Ce had made for her and held it in her palm. Then, she pointed the god-vanquishing blade at Huyan Ba. When the god-vanquishing blade was held in Yunjian's hand, the sharp blade emitted a sharp luster. In the next second, the brilliance of the god-vanquishing blade illuminated the whole place. The god-vanquishing blade was a legendary blade. The person who owned it could not only kill an immortal cultivator with a single slash, but more importantly, the person who owned it could even kill the most powerful deities of the gods' continent. It could be said that the person who owned this blade was the master of all the continents. This blade had been in the hands of the Lord Divine Lord since it was born. Ce had given such a treasure to Yunjian. It was as if he had handed over his position as the master of the continent to her. The only deity in the world who could control this god-vanquishing blade was the Lord Divine Lord. After Yunjian finished speaking, the god-vanquishing blade in Yunjian's hand emitted a dazzling light. After the light faded, Huyan Ba suddenly regained his senses. If his eyeballs were about to fall out a moment ago, then his eyeballs were about to explode at this moment. He stared at the god-vanquishing blade in Yunjian's hand, but in the next second, he exclaimed, "The god-vanquishing blade." It was the god-slaying blade. Wasn't the god-vanquishing blade Lord Divine Lord's divine weapon? It's in your hands. Could it be? Huyan Ba suddenly reacted. Just now, Ce had reached out with her hand at a speed that he couldn't even see with his naked eyes. She had grabbed his son's eyeball and burst it. Just now, Huyan Ba was overwhelmed by his anger and didn't have time to think about it. The god-vanquishing blade belonged to the Lord Divine Lord, if that was the case, Sir Divine Lord. You're not the Lord Divine Lord. Huyan Ba stared at Ce and immediately sat down on the ground. Lord Divine Lord. It was said that the Lord God was the ruler of the gods' continent. Huyan Ba was truly frightened. If the return of the sorcerer god was enough to frighten Huyan Ba, then the Divine Lord was an existence that Huyan Ba couldn't even imagine. For example, in Huyan Ba's eyes, the Divine Lord's identity was like a god in the eyes of earthlings. He was a figure that existed in fantasy. Hence, when he saw the god-vanquishing blade and Ce's strength, Huyan Ba was shocked. However, Yunjian didn't give Huyan Ba a rebuttal or a correct answer. She pointed the god-vanquishing blade at Huyan Ba. She didn't want to give Huyan Ba a chance and wanted to end him directly. When you go to hell, you'll know the answer. Yun Jian's lips curled up coldly. She waved the god-vanquishing blade. Just as she was about to end Huyan Ba's life with one slash, suddenly, Huyan Ba's eyes turned. He knelt in front of Yun Jian and Ce and shouted. Chapter 1566. Yun Jian had originally planned to use the god-vanquishing blade to kill Huyan Ba and make him disappear from this world completely. However, she did not expect Huyan Ba to say such words. Did he know that she and Ce had been looking for traces of the mysterious person? Did he know how to recover the memories of her and Ce when they were the sorcerer god and Sir God? This, I really know. I really know. If I'm lying, it won't be too late for you to kill me then. Huyan Ba raised 3 fingers and said firmly to Yun Jian and Ce. Whether a person was lying or not could be seen from their facial expressions. Huyan Ba's expression told Yun Jian that he was not lying about this. Speak. Ce shouted as he glanced coldly at Huyan Ba. Although Ce still had the ability he had when he was a Lord Divinity and had some memories of his time as a Lord Divinity, his memories were only fragments. Regardless of whether Huyan Ba was telling the truth or not, what if he was telling the truth? At the very least, if what Huyan Ba said was true, it would be of great help to Yun Jian and Ce. Huyan Ba looked around carefully and said to Yun Jian and Ce, there are too many people here. Let's talk in the cave over there. Shuang, Mo-sen, you two go to Adam first. When Ce heard this, he did not turn around. Instead, he turned his handsome face sideways and said softly to Shuang and Mo Sr., yes, young master. Shuang and Mo-sen responded. Then, the two of them swaggered toward where Adam and the other sorcerer tribe members were. Rather than swaggering, it was better to say that Shuang put his arm around Mo-sen's shoulder and walked over. You little rascal, how was your time in the Yulong mainland? Was it fun? As soon as they arrived, Shuang put his arm around Adam's shoulder. He first knocked Adam's head with his hand, then said to Adam with a grin. The scar on Shuaying's neck was horrifying. If this scar was removed, he would undoubtedly be the most handsome among the 4 leaders of Anhun. Of course, even with this terrifying scar, Shuaying's handsome appearance still attracted the attention of a large group of witch tribe girls around him. At this moment, Yun Jian and Ce had already followed Huyan Ba into an empty cave. I'll tell you everything I know as long as you let go of my Huyan clan. Huyan Ba wasn't a fool. He stated his conditions as soon as he entered the cave. Do you think you still have the right to negotiate with us? Yun Jian held the god-slaying blade in her hand. She swung the butterfly blade-like god-slaying blade with ease. That way, it would be as if she could accidentally stab the god-slaying blade into Huyan Ba's heart and turn him into ashes. Huyan Ba swallowed his saliva. For the first time, he was speechless in front of a teenage girl. Moreover, this teenage girl was the sorcerer god who had once dominated the Yulong mainland. I'll tell you. But, you have to let go of my Huyan clan after I tell you. Huyan Ba was afraid that Yun Jian and Ce would wait impatiently. So, he paused for a moment after he said this. Then, he continued to speak. That was half a year ago. At that time, I went to the central mainland as the patriarch of the number 1 family of the Yulong mainland. Then, I accidentally heard a conversation between 2 mysterious people. Those 2 mysterious people were wearing black robes. I listened carefully because they mentioned the Lord Divine Lord and the Sorcerer God. Chapter 1567. Lord Divine Monarch, that's a supreme existence. When I was listening to the 2 mysterious men, I didn't believe them at all. Because what kind of existence is the Lord Divine Lord? How could he use up all his spiritual power and even go against the way of heaven to save the sorcerer god of Yulong continent for the sorcerer god? That's impossible. But then I thought about it. 1,000 years ago, when the Lord God of Yulong continent came to Yulong continent, He asked if the sorcerer god was there. Then, the Lord God said that the sorcerer god wouldn't come. The Lord God asked his protector to kill the Lord God. So I listened carefully at that time. Hu Yanba wanted to continue his nonsense, but Yun Jian didn't let him have his way. Yun Jian took a big step forward and swung the butterfly knife made from God-vanquishing blade lightly, placing it on Hu Yanba's neck and yelling at him, "What are you doing? Get to the point. I'll kill you if you keep talking nonsense." Hu Yanba's eyes turned. He was so scared that his whole body trembled. He quickly begged for mercy, Don't. I'm just laying the foundation. The main point is at the end, speak." The God-vanquishing blade in Yun Jian's hand pressed coldly against Hu Yanba's neck, inching closer. This time, Hu Yanba didn't dare to talk nonsense. He quickly continued. The two mysterious men said that the Lord God and the Sorcerer God were still alive. They said that they were in a place called Earth. They even sent people to assassinate them. When I heard about this, I also sent people to look for a place called Earth. But they couldn't find that place, so I gave up. I didn't believe that the Sorcerer God was still alive, until just now. Don't, I'll say it. I'll get to the point. Don't. Hu Yanba started to talk nonsense again. He seemed to be stalling for time. However, just as Hu Yanba was about to talk nonsense, Yun Jian moved the God-vanquishing blade closer to his neck. Hu Yanba no longer dared to talk nonsense. He quickly got down to business. I met those two mysterious people in the central continent. If you want to find them, you'll have to go to the central continent. However, I can't guarantee that they're from the central continent. Also, the two mysterious people mentioned something else. That is, if the Divine Lord and the Sorcerer God return and want to recover their strength and memories, they have to get the sandalwood box. They have to inject powerful spiritual energy into the sandalwood box in order to open it. Legend has it that this sandalwood box is a divine artifact. With it, one can become the ruler of all the continents. Even on the God's continent, no one is a match for it. After Hu Yanba finished talking about the main point, he began to sigh with emotion. As soon as he finished speaking, Yun Jian interrupted him. Have you finished what you wanted to say? Finished. You. Just as Hu Yanba came back to his senses, he felt a white light flash in front of him. Yun Jian's god-slaying blade had already slit his throat. You're trustworthy. At the moment when he fell, Hu Yanba shouted with all his might. Hu Yanba closed his eyes. The last thing he heard in his life was Yun Jian's cold voice. I never promised to let the Huyan family go. The Huyan family has had enough of the throne of Yulong mainland. It's time to return it to its rightful owner. Hu Yanba was dead. The Huyan family was destroyed. After thousands of years, the sorcerer tribe had regained the throne of Yulong mainland's #1 family. 1,000 years ago, before the sorcerer god fell, he promised that he would return after 1,000 years. Some people said that the sorcerer tribe would prosper with the sorcerer god around. Now, the sorcerer god had returned as promised and led the sorcerer tribe to regain the throne of Yulong mainland's #1 family. Chapter 1568. Witch Tribe Palace. The destruction of the Huyan family represented the rise of the Witch Tribe. At this moment, the Witch Tribe Palace was holding an exciting banquet. Yun Jian, Ce, Adam, Shuang, Mo Sen, Lan Su, and Wu Lan did not attend the Witch Tribe's banquet. At this moment, they were sitting in a corner of the backyard of the Witch Tribe Palace. A sandalwood box was placed on the table in front of them. The sandalwood box was not like other antiques. From its appearance, it was bright and beautiful from beginning to end. It did not even give people a sense of age. This was also why Yun Jian could replace the sandalwood box with a high-end imitation. In his previous life, Lang Sha kidnapped Xiao Yunju and forced Yun Jian to hand over the sandalwood box. Yun Jian handed over a high-end imitation, but Lang Sha did not discover that it was an imitation. At this moment, Siyi's hand was on the sandalwood box. Is what Huyen Ba said really feasible? Are we really going to open the sandalwood box now? As the witch tribe leader, Wulan was still very worried about Yun Jian and Si's actions of opening the sandalwood box. It was strange that the sandalwood box had never been opened since it appeared. To open the sandalwood box, one would need powerful spiritual power. Now, the only person who could do this was Ce. Open. Yun Jian narrowed her eyes and said. Hearing this, Ce injected her powerful spiritual power into the sandalwood box. The sandalwood box on the table shook violently. Then, under everyone's eyes, it opened. Suddenly, a strong ray of light refracted. The moment the light shone, it seemed to be able to destroy the heavens and the earth. In the next second, Ce and Yun Jian fainted under the strong light. Even Mo Sun, Shuang, and Adam next to them were the same. The memories from 1,000 years ago came flooding back like a tidal wave. You guys. After the light faded, Lan Su saw that Yun Jian and the others had fainted. Stop shouting, I think they are trying to retrieve their memories. Wu Lan pressed down on Lan Su's hand that was about to shake Adam. She stopped Lan Su. Time, like a twisted tunnel, opened the dusty memories. 1,000 years ago, in the residence of the sorcerer god in the sorcerer tribe. Lan Su helped the sorcerer god put on a black coat and stood beside a bronze mirror as he asked the sorcerer god, Lord Sorcerer God, the ceremony is about to begin. Aren't you going? No. The sorcerer god stood up and walked out. Halfway through, the sorcerer goddess stopped in her tracks. She turned sideways, her slender figure wrapped in a black robe. She moved her red lips slightly and said to Lan Su, I'm going out for a walk. You don't have to come with me. Yes. Lan Su nodded. Only then did the sorcerer god leave. There was a quiet forest in Yulong mainland. There was a cave in the forest. There was a bed and daily necessities in the cave. The sorcerer god didn't like those complicated things. When she was bored, she only liked to walk around in this quiet cave. She was the respected sorcerer god of the sorcerer tribe. Everyone envied her, but no one knew that she was tired of this identity. Her life belonged to the sorcerer tribe. Protecting the sorcerer tribe was her mission. She didn't even have the chance to choose her own love and survive. The sorcerer god had just walked into the cave when she turned around when a familiar man's aura hit her. A slender hand grabbed her slender wrist. Lord Divine Lord. Seeing the man in front of her, the sorcerer god was stunned and was about to bow. Why didn't you come to the ceremony? You don't want to see me? He grabbed her hand and questioned her. Just now, when the king of Yulong mainland said that she wouldn't appear at the ceremony, he couldn't help but let his protector kill the king. We don't belong to the same world. Don't come looking for me again. The sorcerer god lowered her head slightly. She was about to continue speaking when he grabbed her wrist and pulled her onto the bed. Chapter 1569. As he spoke, he buried his head in her neck and nibbled on her snow-white neck. His heavy breathing hit her side. The sorcerer goddess put her hands between him and her body, but allowed him to nibble on her snow-white skin. Until the snow-white skin on her neck turned red from his nibbling, she only put her hands between their chests and did not move. He grabbed her head, but was so gentle that he could not bear to hurt her. He buried his head and kissed her red lips fiercely. This time, she reached out to push him away, but her hands were caught in one of his large palms. She could not break free. Actually, she had feelings for him too. If she did not have any feelings for him, she would not have allowed him to nibble on her neck and leave marks on her beautiful and pure skin. It was only when he released her lips and stopped moving while panting heavily that she called out softly, Lord Divine Lord. Although she was the sorcerer goddess and was called the sorcerer goddess by the world, she was so powerful that she was invincible. However, no one knew that she could kill a god with her bare hands. In the whole world, there was only one person who was more powerful than her. That person was her nemesis. That person was the Sir Divine Lord. Don't call me Sir Divine Lord. If you call me that again, I'll take you. His eyes were red. He reached out and grabbed one of her slender wrists above her head. She looked straight at him. There was no fear in her eyes. She did not call him Sir Divine Lord anymore. Because she knew that if she called him that, he would really do what he said and take her right here. As the sorcerer goddess of the sorcerer tribe, as a girl of the sorcerer tribe, she could not lose her virginity to a man before marriage. Otherwise, she could either kill the man, marry him, or commit suicide. Naturally, she could not break this rule first. Tell me, why didn't you come to the ceremony? Seeing that the girl was distracted under him, he pressed her head to make her look into his eyes and asked. He did not see her at the ceremony just now, so he was impulsive. The king of the Yulong mainland said that the sorcerer goddess would definitely not come to the ceremony. He did not show his emotions on his face, but asked his protector to kill the king of the Yulong mainland. Now, outsiders might think that the divine monarch had gone mad. We shouldn't meet again. You're the divine lord of the gods' continent, and I'm the witch god of the wizard tribe. We shouldn't. She said. She shouldn't have gone to God's continent 3 years ago, and she shouldn't have gotten to know him. They shouldn't have been together in the first place. Perhaps it was a mistake from the first time they met. Shouldn't? To me, you are the best gift given to me by the heavens. I won't allow you to say those 3 words again. He said forcefully before kissing her hard on the lips. The sorcerer god existed because of the sorcerer tribe. It could be said that she existed for the sorcerer tribe. The word love was not allowed in her life. Otherwise, it would be going against the heavens. Going against the heavens meant that she would fall and her soul would scatter. She really wanted to tell him that she was willing, but he bit all over her neck and tore off the black shirt on her shoulder. Just as he was about to rip her clothes off, she blocked his hand. Lord Divine Lord, don't, she was not weak. She reached out to stop him from violating her, but he broke through in the next second. The sorcerer goddess's strength was unmatched in the entire Yulong mainland. Even in the gods' continent, she had a shocking record of killing gods. However, in front of the Lord Divine Lord, her strength was not as good as his. When he heard her call him Lord Divine Lord in such a distant manner, he grabbed her delicate wrist and pulled it out. Where are you taking me? Her eyes moved slightly as she asked. Chapter 1570. As he spoke, he pulled her out of the cave from the bed. His actions seemed rough, but in reality, he was holding her hand and gently and carefully pulled her out of the cave. I'm not going to the gods' continent. When they reached the entrance of the cave, the witch goddess retracted her hand. She tried to pull her wrist back, but he held it firmly. You don't have a choice. He could satisfy her with anything else, but this was the only thing he wouldn't agree to. You can't be so bossy. I'm the witch god of the witch tribe, not one of your people. She refused to follow him out of the cave, but she stood in place. When she said, I'm not one of your people, he tightened his grip on her hand. I'm the ruler of the gods' continent. Can't I take you away? As he spoke, he tightened his grip on her hand. His eyes were fixed on her as he said this very seriously. As he said this, his gaze landed on her body, only to see that her shoulders were bare. Because when he pushed her onto the bed, he reached out and tore off the clothes on her shoulders, revealing half of her fair shoulders. At this moment, her shoulders were half exposed. Her fair shoulders swayed in front of him. He swallowed hard and took a big step forward. What are you doing? When she saw him standing in front of her, she took a step back out of reflex, but she fell back against the stone wall of the cave. He didn't say anything and moved closer to her. She instinctively shrank back. Because of the way he treated her just now, she was in a daze for a moment. Just as she was about to push him away, he grabbed her wrist. Then, his hand was attached to the plain clothes on her shoulders. Just when she thought he was going to do something unreasonable to her, she felt his hand on her shoulder grab her black shirt and pull it up a little. He didn't let go of her until he tidied up her clothes. So he just wanted to tidy up her clothes. She was stunned. She raised her head slightly and saw his handsome and flawless face. She could only reach his chin. When she raised her head, she could see his well-defined chin and the long eyelashes beside his eyes. Seeing that he was only tidying up her clothes, she actually felt a little disappointed. She was shocked by her own thoughts, so she quickly suppressed them in her mind. Before she could finish her sentence, a man with delicate features walked over from the side of the cave. The man stood in front of the Divine Lord and called out, "Sir Divine Lord." Then, the man glanced sideways at the sorcerer god and said to the Divine Lord, "Sir Divine Lord, a black-robed man has invaded the gods' continent. The gods can no longer hold him back. Please return and help." This man was none other than Shuang. The snow eagle from 1,000 years ago had thrown away his handsome and candid aura, and there wasn't even a scar on his neck. Handsome and dashing. Apart from the Divine Lords, Shui Ying's looks were enough to instantly overtake all the other men on the continent. He was truly a handsome man. The Lord God turned his head and glanced at Shui Ying. He grabbed her hand and tightened his grip slightly. Then, he turned to look at her and said solemnly, "Wait for me at the sorcerer tribe." At this moment, the lock on her memory disintegrated. It was as if something was forcefully preventing her from recalling her memories. Yun Jian, Ce, Shuang, Adam, and Mo Sen, who were lying on the table, suddenly raised their heads at the same time. Then, what happened? The moment Yun Jian raised her head, a drop of cold sweat rolled down from the corner of her eye. She said listlessly, Chapter 1571. Wu Lan's words brought Yun Jian back to reality from her memories. "I didn't find it. After the black light flashed just now, I ran in the direction it came from, but I couldn't find any trace of it even after a long time. I think it's probably the mysterious person who did it." Lan Su ran over from afar, panting. She frowned after she said that. Yun Jian sat on the bench with her hand on the table, supporting her head with one hand, looking like she was deep in thought. While Yun Jian was deep in thought, a large hand grabbed her. "Xiao Jian, I won't let you go again." It was Ce. Ce grabbed Yun Jian, preventing her from looking elsewhere. "I'm not the witch goddess. I won't leave. Even if the witch tribe is destroyed, I'll always be with you." Yun Jian held Ce in return. It was her first time saying such touching words in front of so many people. Yun Jian, Ce, and Shuang did not receive any relevant memories of what happened after the memory was cut off. Therefore, no one knew what happened next. "Yun Jian, have you recovered your spiritual power?" Lan Su went to Yun Jian and asked in anticipation. "Let me try." Receiving a part of the witch goddess's memory felt like a part of another person's memory was forcefully inserted into her own life. In spite of it, she had received a part of the witch goddess's memory. Yun Jian raised her hand slightly to see if she could gather spiritual power. Swoosh! The moment Yun Jian raised her hand, a gust of wind whipped up around them. A huge tornado hovered on the spot, its force so strong that it seemed like it could tear the entire Yulong mainland apart. So this is spiritual power. Yun Jian's eyes glinted as she looked up to scan her surroundings. The wind and clouds were raging around them, the force of the gust almost collapsing the witch tribe's palace. Yun Jian's eyelashes fluttered. She was a little shocked. Because at this moment, no one knew better than her that the spiritual power she was using now was as weak as a speck of dust under her fingernails. What if she used all of her spiritual energy? Yun Jian was pleasantly surprised for a moment. Spiritual energy, it was indeed a good thing. Fully recovered? Yun Jian, have you fully recovered your spiritual power? Lan Su was already used to calling Yun Jian by her real name. At this moment, seeing Yun Jian's spiritual power recover, Lan Su was so excited that she almost jumped up. Sorcerer God. Patriarch. What was going on? Why did the sky suddenly darken and there's even a gust of wind? In a place far away, a young shaman girl braved the fierce wind and walked towards a side courtyard with great difficulty. The strong wind blew all of a sudden. The people of the sorcerer tribe were celebrating the return of the sorcerer god and the return of the sorcerer tribe as the #1 family in the Yulong mainland. However, this gust of wind had suddenly blown up, and scared the people of the sorcerer tribe. Could it be that the Huyen family hadn't been destroyed? Therefore, the people of the sorcerer tribe in the palace deliberately sent the young shaman girl to the backyard to ask for help from the sorcerer god and the patriarch. "It's me." Yin Jian's red arc curved slightly. She raised half of her face into a smile. Then, she put down her hand. The huge wave that had just condensed in her hand disintegrated and disappeared in a flash. It didn't leave any trace behind. The young shaman girl was stupefied when she saw this scene. The young shaman girl was stunned for 2 seconds. Then, she suddenly exclaimed loudly. She turned around and rushed towards the main hall. She ran while shouting, "The sorcerer god has recovered his spiritual power. The sorcerer god has recovered his spiritual power." Her ecstatic voice almost reverberated through the sky. It wasn't difficult to feel how pleasantly surprised the young shaman girl was when she heard this news. The sorcerer god was powerful, and this meant that the sorcerer tribe would be able to maintain peace for a long time. The sorcerer god was the religion of the sorcerer tribe. In the past, the sorcerer god had killed the gods of the gods continent. Some people had once asserted that the sorcerer god of the sorcerer tribe was more powerful than the sorcerer god in the whole world. Besides the Lord God of the gods continent, no one could be a match for him. The sorcerer god was a person who existed in the world. People couldn't help but respect and adore him. The Yulong continent seemed to be peaceful. But, it was full of ups and downs of crisis. The person who had interrupted her, CE, and the others from receiving the memory transmitted from the sandalwood box must be that mysterious person. She hadn't seen the mysterious person's true face from her previous life until she had returned to the Yulong continent. But, the mysterious person had always existed. Yin Jian couldn't express her anger in words. But, she had to go back to Earth first. As for the central continent that she had heard from the mouth of the Huyen family's patriarch, Huyen Ba had said that he had heard the conversation between 2 mysterious people in the central continent. So, Yin Jian had to go to the central continent. But now wasn't the time. She had to go back to Earth now. Yin Jian, CE, and the others returned to Earth early the next morning. They went straight to Pu City in He Province. Chapter 1572. Country Z, He Province, Pu City. The morning sky was a little hazy. It was chilly and the wind blew. The sun could not be seen until noon. There were only dark clouds in the sky. They were different from the snow-white clouds that floated by on a sunny day. The dark clouds that floated by in the sky were very dark. The dark clouds dyed the sky pitch black. However, there was no sign of rain on the dark clouds that had been floating in the sky since the morning. The friendly competition started in the morning and lasted until 4 in the afternoon. The friendly competition was a competition of individual results. For example, target shooting, and 5,000-meter cross-country running were all calculated based on individual results. Then, all the scores of the students from each military academy would be added together to form the total score. This total score would be directly calculated into the ranking of all the military academies. The total score would be the ranking of all the military academies. The morning passed quickly. There were still 20 minutes to the end of the competition. Wait a minute. Isn't it unfair to calculate the total score now? Min City Military Academy is short of 2 people. Our total score can only be ranked 3rd among all the military academies. Wang Kuan stood in front of the military academy students and said with dissatisfaction. Pfft. Your Min City Military Academy only got this result last year. So what if that girl is back? Although she defeated Lin Kuei, the chief bodyguard of Cheetah Bodyguard Company, we are competing in the individual competition this time. Only when the individual results are added to the total score will the school's total score be calculated and ranked. Wang Kuan. I don't want to criticize you, but there are only 20 minutes left. After 20 minutes, no matter what the reason is, you will be disqualified. Moreover, a 5,000-meter cross-country run takes more than 20 minutes. Even the fastest would take more than 10 minutes, right? So what if the two of them are here now? Do you think they can complete all the tests in 20 minutes? Tisk, tsk. Wang Kuan, stop daydreaming. Your Min City Military Academy can forget about getting second place this year. Hey, why are you looking at me like that? Haha. I see that your Min City Military Academy is short of 2 people. It's already good enough that your total score can barely secure third place in the military academy. You are still not satisfied. Wang Kuan was a student from Min City Military Academy. Just as he was feeling indignant that his school was missing 2 people from the competition, Lin Zigua, a student from the super elite school, who had always been hostile to Min City Military Academy, stood up. After Lin Zigua stood up, he mocked and sneered at Wang Kuan. His smug look was simply unbearable to the people present. There was a time limit for the friendly match. Once it was 4:00 in the afternoon, even if Yun Jian and Ce made it back in time, they would have been disqualified at that time. Even if he came back now, there were only 20 minutes left before the start of the match. In 20 minutes, they had to finish the 5 events of the 5,000-meter cross-country run, shooting, target practice, and long jump. Pfft, was this a dream? Unless Yun Jian and Ce could fly, there was no way they could complete these 4 projects. Lin Zigua, you. Wang Kuan was so infuriated by Lin Zigua that he almost vomited blood. On this large field, all the military academy students had already received their individual achievements. They were just waiting for 4:00 to officially end the friendly competition. What about you? Who asked those 2 students from Min City Military Academy to be so useless? They want to compete with our super elite school? Dream on. Lin Zigua said arrogantly. At this point, Lin Zigua felt that it was not enough, so he added, I think you should just give up on those 2 students from Min City Military Academy. They won't be able to come back. Even if they come back now, it's too late. There's only 20 minutes left. You can still fight. Lin Zigua muttered the last sentence to himself. However, just as Lin Zigua finished muttering to himself, a sharp female voice rang out. The voice was loud and clear, but it was enough to make everyone present turn their heads and look over. Who said we're giving up? Don't talk about whether your super elite military academy can keep second place. Today, I'm going to take first place from Taiji Military Academy. Just as he said that, Yun Jian and Ce came into view from the other end of the hall. Chapter 1573. She actually said that she wanted to take first place in Taiji Military Academy? How arrogant. Everyone present sucked in a deep breath. Yun Jian's ability aside, the friendly competition wasn't about a person's ability. It was about the points of each person's abilities. The total score of a military academy was calculated by adding up the scores of all the students in each individual event. What kind of existence was Taiji Military Academy? Since the first season of the friendly competition, Taiji Military Academy had been firmly in first place. Ever since the friendly competition was held, Taiji Military Academy had never gotten second place. As for Taiji Military Academy's first place ranking, the students of the other military academies no longer doubted it. Yet, Yun Jian actually said that she wanted to take first place. And there were only 19 minutes left before the competition ended. If Yun Jian and Ce could complete 4 events in 19 minutes and get full marks for each event, then Min City would be able to take first place in the competition. It wouldn't be a joke if Min City Military Academy could really take first place this year. Was it possible to get full marks for each event? Was it scientific? Furthermore, there were only 19 minutes left. If there was enough time, Yun Jian and Ce would be able to achieve excellent results for each event. They might even be able to surpass the Chaoshan Military Academy, which was currently in second place. Ahahaha. There are only 19 minutes left, alright? Weren't the two of you pretty cocky 2 days ago? Now that there's not enough time, let's see if you can still do it. Lin Ziguo was already dissatisfied with Yun Jian and Siyi's abilities. Taking advantage of this opportunity to mock them, he mocked them for the rest of his life. That's right. There are only 19 minutes left before the competition ends. Does she really think that she's a god? Although this girl is pretty, she's too narcissistic. Yeah, she really doesn't know what's good for her. The students from the other military academies also started mocking them. In an instant, everyone's target was Yunjian and Ce. Since the students from the other schools had already finished their matches, more than 100 people were waiting to see Yunjian and Ce's performance. Teacher, please help me prepare the timing for all the events. Ignoring everyone, Yunjian turned to look at the referee who was recording the results and keeping time with the stopwatch and spoke faintly. The moment Yunjian said this, the teachers and referees were dumbfounded. Were these two students really going to challenge them? There were only 18 minutes left. Would they really make it in time? Even so, the teachers and referees still quickly finished the stopwatch and other things for the 4 events. The students around them made way for them as their eyes were glued to Yunjian and Ce. The most exciting moment had come. The students around them all held their breaths. They watched as Yunjian and Ce raised the rifles in front of them the moment the referee finished the stopwatch for the first event. They didn't even look at the target. Yunjian and Ce grabbed their rifles and fired 10 shots in a short span of 10 seconds. The two of them were equally matched in terms of speed. The first event only took 10 seconds to complete. Then, Yunjian and Ce quickly ran to the second event. They finished shooting in 10 seconds? How can that be accurate? Lin Ziguo said disdainfully in front of the crowd. As he spoke, he sneered as he looked at the target. However, what caught his eye was the 2 targets on the target. Out of the 10 rings, all 10 shots hit the target. This was a perfect performance. Lin Ziguo and the surrounding students who were mocking Yunjian and Ce widened their eyes. When they turned to look at Yunjian and Ce, they saw that Ce and Yunjian had already completed the second event, the third event, the long jump, and started the fourth event, the 5,000-meter cross-country run. They only used half a minute to complete the 3 events? What? What kind of joke was this? Was this still the speed a person should have? Chapter 1574. The voices of the 2 referees shocked the crowd. Excluding the time taken to run from one event to another, Yunjian and Ce completed one event every 10 seconds. Lin Ziguo, who was standing far away, exclaimed in horror, "No. This is impossible. How can they complete the task in such a short time? And, full marks. If Yunjian and Ce could complete the 5 kilometers cross-country run in the last 10 minutes and get full marks, then Min City Military School would be first this year." At this moment, not only were Lin Ziguo and the other super godly military school students shocked, even the Taiji Military School students widened their eyes in shock. On the other side, Ce calmly reached out and grabbed Yunjian's hand in front of everyone. The two of them ran towards the route of the 5 kilometers cross-country run. It didn't seem like they were running, but they were actually running very fast. Most importantly, Ce and Yunjian hadn't used their full strength yet. But even so, it was enough to make everyone's hearts clench. If this continued, even Taiji Military School's first place would be snatched away by them. There was a part of the 5 kilometers cross-country run that went around the foot of the mountain. Both the teachers and the referees couldn't see anyone during this part of the route. The stronger boys from Taiji Military School looked at each other and then greeted the other boys from Taiji Military School. Then, they quietly walked towards the small path at the back of the mountain. There's a good show to watch. Let's go watch it. Lin Ziguo saw this and brought a few students from his school to chase after them. Wang Kuan and the rest didn't notice the small movements of Taiji Military School and Lin Ziguo's group. The people from Min City Military School were still standing in place, waiting for Yunjian and Ce to arrive. Back of the mountain. Ce and Yunjian were sprinting at top speed. To outsiders, they looked like they were sprinting, but at this moment, Ce was holding Yunjian's hand as he jogged with Yunjian at his slowest speed. The two of you, if you're smart, you'd better stop right now. Don't lose this round on purpose. Our Taiji Military Academy has been in first place since the start of the friendly competition. If Taiji Military Academy loses the competition because of you, we won't let you off. A few boys from Taiji Military Academy rushed out from the small path and stood in front of Yunjian and Ce's route. They blocked Yunjian and Ce from afar. The boys from Taiji Military Academy were all tall and strong. They stood in a row and blocked Yunjian and Ce's path. From the looks of it, even if they couldn't beat Yunjian and Ce, they still wanted to prevent Yunjian and Ce from reaching the finish line in the allotted time. If Yunjian and Ce got full marks this time, then no one would be able to change Min City Military School's first place. Lin Zigua and the rest, who were following behind, watched from afar. There wasn't much time left. With the boys from Taiji Military Academy blocking them, Yunjian and Ce definitely wouldn't be able to reach the finish line in the allotted time. Lin Zigua grinned and thought that the boys from Taiji Military Academy would definitely be able to stop Yunjian and Ce. Lin Zigua and the rest were shocked to see this scene. However, Yunjian and Ce didn't even look at the boys from Taiji Military Academy. The two of them leaped up from the ground in tacit understanding. They jumped 2 meters high and stepped on the heads of the two boys from Taiji Military Academy. With a light leap, they bypassed the boys from Taiji Military Academy and continued running. The two boys from Taiji Military Academy were so angry that their faces turned green. Yunjian and Ce had already run forward. No matter how hard the boys from Taiji Military Academy and Lin Zigua and the rest chased after them, they couldn't catch up. There was no doubt that Min City Military School's first place was in the bag. Yunjian had just finished running when she saw Yu Xiaoluo standing by the side at the finish line. Seeing that Yunjian had reached the finish line, Yu Xiaoluo waved at her. Although she didn't know why Yu Xiaoluo was here, Yunjian still walked over. Ce didn't follow her because Yu Xiaoluo had stopped her. In the dark, Yu Xiaoluo frowned slightly. He turned his head and said to Yunjian, "The hunting school selection has been brought forward. It will officially start in 7 days. Then, there will be a month of closed training. Those who are eliminated will be sent out of the selection field. Are you ready?" Hearing this, Yunjian raised her eyebrows slightly and said softly, "I'm always ready." Chapter 1575. Since you're always prepared, I'm relieved. I'm just worried that the selection would be held a month later, but now that it's brought forward, you won't be prepared. Yu Xiaoluo was relieved to hear Yunjian say that she was ready. He was afraid that Yunjian would be eliminated within a few days of going to the selection if she wasn't prepared. The selection, as the name suggested, was to select those who could represent Country Z and go to the hunting school to further their studies. The selection would eliminate all the shortlisted candidates, and the top 3 special forces would be selected in the end. The top 3 special forces would be members who could go to the hunting school to further their studies. Okay. Yunjian nodded at Yu Xiaoluo. Although Yunjian's attitude towards Yu Xiaoluo was normal, it was all thanks to Yu Xiaoluo's recommendation in front of Min City's principal Ma that she was able to enter the selection. Yu Xiaoluo was Gu Yunjian's comrade. He had promised Gu Junjian that he would take good care of Yunjian at Min City's military academy. He did it and even did her a big favor. Yunjian had always been a person who would take revenge and repay kindness. Although she wouldn't say much, she would always remember his kindness in her heart. Yunjian, you can go over there and gather first. I'll leave first. I have a mission. I was just passing by, so I thought I'd tell you about it. Yu Xiaoluo saw that the students from Min City's military academy had already gathered and were preparing to return to Min City. He quickly reached out and pointed in their direction before speaking to Yunjian. After Yu Xiaoluo finished speaking, he turned around and left first. He was wearing a dark green military uniform. His tall and handsome figure was enough to make many women scream. Yun Jian walked over to Ce the moment Yu Xiaoluo turned around. "What did you say?" Ce grabbed Yun Jian's little hand and asked softly. Yun Jian told Ce that she was going to the hunting school. Ce tacitly agreed with Yun Jian's decision. As long as her decision didn't endanger her life, he wouldn't stop her. "Coincidentally, I'm also going back to the organization. Call me when you're back." As soon as she returned, he would return to Min City's military academy or Longmen City immediately. Since she wasn't around, he naturally wouldn't stay a second longer. He reached out and rubbed Yun Jian's head as he said softly. He loved her more and more, just like when he was the Lord Divine Lord, he was willing to give up his life for her. Ce didn't tell anyone that he had recovered all his memories from his previous life when the sandalwood box was opened. Yun Jian's memory stopped at that moment, but Ce's memory had completely recovered. However, he did not intend to tell her about his memory recovery. If possible, he hoped that she would never regain her memories. Back then, the sorcerer tribe had been framed by the black-robed man. The sorcerer god had used all of his spiritual energy to protect the sorcerer tribe, but he himself had gone against the heavenly Tao and his soul had been destroyed. As a divine sovereign, he didn't even think twice before using his own godhead to defy the heavenly Tao and save her. A god who used his godhead would have his soul destroyed directly. He had planned to exchange his life for hers. Afraid that the black-robed man would harm her again, he forcefully tore open the stone tunnel to earth and sent her there. As for himself, his soul should have been destroyed because he had gone against the heavenly Tao, but somehow, he had fallen to earth and followed her. As for his 4 guardians, the 4 leaders of an Hun group, they had followed him to earth voluntarily and had lost their memories of their past lives. One of the most important reasons Ce didn't want Yun Jian to remember the past was that the black-robed man must be the mysterious person who had never shown himself. If she remembered this, based on his understanding of her, she would definitely seek revenge from the mysterious person. He didn't want any accidents to happen to her, not even the slightest possibility. It was enough for him to take revenge for her alone. He had once said that even if he were to die, it would be him taking her place. Chapter 1576. Yun Jian, who stood in front of him, lifted her head to glance at him before lowering it shyly. Looking at Yun Jian, Ce felt that everything he had done was worth it. At least now, she was willing to be with him openly. Just as Ce was thinking about it, Yun Jian suddenly told him, "You're right. If you don't come back, I'll look for you in the organization. Look for him in an Hun group." Ce's lips curled up at her words. In the next second, he pulled her into his arms. "Xiao Jian, I'll never let go of you in this lifetime, the next lifetime, and the lifetime after that, forever." He hugged her waist and declared solemnly. "Even if the sky falls, I'll never leave you." Yun Jian hugged his firm chest in front of her classmates. "Yo, yo. Over there, over there. Ha ha ha." Wang Kuan and the rest had no more opinions about Yun Jian and Ce now that they had gotten first place in Min City's military academy. Looking at Yun Jian and Ce hugging each other, Wang Kuan and the rest started teasing them instead, their initial sarcasm gone. Not long after they returned to Min City's military academy, Ce went back to an Hun group first. Yun Jian had to prepare for the selection field these days, so Principal Ma personally approved Yun Jian's 7-day leave after she returned to Min City's military academy. These 7 days allowed Yun Jian to prepare in advance for the selection field. In fact, Yun Jian did not have to prepare anything intentionally, but she accepted the 7-day leave that Principal Ma applied for her gladly. It was Friday when she returned to school, so school was dismissed right after she arrived. Lin Wan and Muing walked out of the school gate with her. As they walked, Lin Wan was still very envious of Yun Jian. "Wow, you can have 7 days off. That's so cool. I really envy you, Yun Jian. We can rest for 2 days on the weekend." Muing whispered at the side. "That's different. We have 2 days off on the weekend and have to go back to school. Yunjian can rest for 7 days. 7 days. It's as long as the National Day holiday. Lin Wan said enviously. Most of the students were counting the days until the holidays. Mu Ying, on the other hand, felt that school was a very safe place after her bloody experience in the Enhun organization in her previous life. On this point, everyone's experiences were different, and their understandings were also different. Just as she returned to Longmen City, Yun Jian received Ning Lanlan's call. It had been a while since he last saw Ning Lanlan. He first met Ning Lanlan when they were having a barbecue by the river. Ning Lanlan had borrowed salt from Yun Jian and the others. Ning Lanlan was a very energetic girl who used to study in foreign languages high school. After her senior high school entrance exams, she got into Longmen City's second high school. Second high school was considered a key high school in Longmen City. Although it was not as good as first high school where Yuni studied, being able to get into second high school was already an impressive feat in 1999. Mobile phones were gradually becoming more common. Children from wealthy families already had mobile phones in their hands. Ning Lanlan asked Yun Jian out to play and Yun Jian did not reject her. Initially, Yun Jian had planned to look for Zhang Xiaofeng, Chen Sini, and Ling Yichen when she returned to Longmen City. She wanted to look for Zhang Xiaofeng because she wanted to supervise Zhang Xiaofeng on whether Zhang Xiaofeng had trained properly while she was away. However, since Ning Lanlan asked her out, Yun Jian put aside the idea of looking for Zhang Xiaofeng and the others. They agreed to meet on Saturday. The next day, Yun Jian wore clothes of decent quality today. It was a white top with a pair of dark blue jeans. The jeans showed off her figure very well. Yun Jian's exquisite beauty was exposed completely in this outfit. At the meeting place, Yun Jian saw Ning Lanlan. There were 3 to 4 young men and women standing beside Ning Lanlan. Yun Jian knew one of them. It was the senior whom Ning Lanlan admired, Xiao Jiming. Chapter 1577. Ning Lanlan was waving at Yun Jian with 7 tickets in her hand. Soaring Dragon Mountain was a newly opened scenic spot in Longmen City. Soaring Dragon Mountain was a natural sightseeing platform with natural beauty. Later on, after some artificial modification, it became the current scenic spot. The reason why Soaring Dragon Mountain was charged was that its scenic spot was great. Many TV drama crews would visit Soaring Dragon Mountain to shoot scenes. Nowadays, TV dramas and movies were gradually becoming popular in the leisure time of the people. It was not as popular as it was now, but to people back then, it had gradually developed into a pastime to kill time. How did TV dramas and movies come about? Of course, they were filmed. Therefore, the term production crew was deeply ingrained in people's hearts. Soaring Dragon Mountain was beautiful and many production crews loved to visit it. This was why many people were willing to pay to enter Soaring Dragon Mountain now. The goal was to see how those magical TV dramas were filmed. After all, in this era, high-tech things like TV dramas and movies were magical to many people. I have tickets here. Shall we go to Soaring Dragon Mountain now? Ning Lanlan pulled Yun Jian into her arms when she saw Yun Jian coming over. Yun Jian did not object. It was not a bad thing to go out for a walk when they were free. The teenagers standing around them were Xiao Jiming's friends. Yun Jian had long known that Ning Lanlan had a crush on Xiao Jiming. As for the other teenagers, Ning Lanlan did not know them very well. Foreign Languages High School had a high school section as well. It was a pity that Ning Lanlan did not get into the high school section during the middle school exams. Xiao Jiming was a student of Foreign Languages High School and Ning Lanlan and Xiao Jiming were no longer in the same school. Even so, Ning Lanlan still wanted to drag Xiao Jiming out with her. In spite of it, Xiao Jiming had a lot of friends and there were a lot of tickets to Soaring Dragon Mountain this time, so he brought a few of his classmates to go with him. Soaring Dragon Mountain was beautiful indeed. It could be seen from the entrance of the scenic spot. As soon as they entered the entrance of the scenic area, Ning Lanlan pulled Yunjian's hand and walked to the side to tell Yunjian mysteriously and excitedly, "Yunjian, did you know? Senior Jiming said that after we finish high school, he will agree to be with me because he has to prepare for the college entrance exam. He doesn't want to be distracted." Sometimes, love was just that cheap. Even if one had to wait for 3 days, as long as there was a time limit, it was enough to make a person go crazy. Ning Lanlan was just like that. Ning Lanlan pulled Yunjian aside and whispered a lot to her. She also asked if Yunjian was doing well recently. When the group of people climbed to the top of Longting Mountain, they saw that not far away, there was a film crew filming, and there were many people watching the show. "Hey! They're filming over there. Let's go take a look." Ning Lanlan grabbed Yunjian's hand excitedly and ran over. Xiao Jiming, as well as a few accompanying boys and girls, also ran over. Right in front of everyone, a man and a woman dressed in ancient costumes were filming a battle scene. "Kakaka. Shu Qin, you're acting as a female assassin. Do you know what a female assassin is? What's with that gentle look of yours?" The director beside them was so angry that he immediately yelled at the actress to cut the scene. "Director, I don't know how to do it." The actress stomped her feet and replied coyly. Ning Lanlan and the rest who were standing far away were excited as they had never seen a film before. However, the girlfriend of one of Xiao Jiming's friends pouted. She said in a softer voice, "I think she's quite good at acting." Xiao Jiming's friend's girlfriend was called Situ Qing. She was quite good-looking and had a nice body. Situ Qing was only halfway through her sentence when Yunjian's voice came from the side. The moment they heard Yunjian's voice, the people around them looked at her. However, Yunjian's sharp words echoed throughout the place. Chapter 1578. Situ Qing had just finished speaking when Yunjian spoke up. It was obviously a slap to her face. Situ Qing was displeased at once. Yunjian and Ning Lanlan were walking together and Situ Qing was not particularly familiar with the latter. If it were not for Yunjian who spoke up after Situ Qing might not have spoken a word to Yunjian after they were done with the scenic spot of Longting Mountain. In spite of it, Yunjian's quick response was obviously a slap to Situ Qing's face. Hence, Situ Qing's face darkened as she spoke to Yunjian, "You sound so serious. Have you been an assassin before? How do you know so much about them?" Situ Qing's words were sharp. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that she was targeting Yunjian. Ning Lanlan picked it up as well and spoke to Situ Qing on Yunjian's behalf. "Xiao Jian is a military school student now. Of course, she knows about this." "Ha. Oh. Should she know about assassins just because she's a military school student? Why don't you say that she used to be an assassin?" Situ Qing rolled her eyes at Yunjian and Ning Lanlan, her tone rather inappropriate. "Qingqing, that's enough." Situ Qing's boyfriend who stood beside her was trying to hold her back, not wanting her to continue talking to Yunjian and Ning Lanlan. "Hey, let go." Situ Qing flung her boyfriend's hand away like she was pissed off. She stood aside in a huff. Cough. This little girl's analysis is very thorough. I don't know if this little girl has some understanding of this profession. Can I ask this little girl to teach the actors in our cast? The director heard Yunjian's comment and put down his microphone at once to go to Yunjian. Logically, the director was supposed to be a superior person, but he was different. Not only did he not scold Yunjian for spouting nonsense after hearing her comment just now, he went over to ask for Yunjian's advice instead. "Director, why don't you ask her? She was just a student from some trashy military school. She wasn't a real assassin and only knew how to spout nonsense. What kind of strength did she have?" Ha. Seeing that the director came over to ask for advice from Yunjian, Situ Qing thought of Yunjian's behavior just now and complained to the director angrily about Yunjian. Yunjian did not pay attention to Situ Qing at all. Seeing that the director was trying to learn, she said, "His moves are as gentle as water. He doesn't have the agility and vigilance that a killer should have." The actor you found to play the killer is too lousy. Oh, my level is too low? He, my level is too low. You're amazing. Do you know how? I've never seen an assassin before. If you do, why don't you demonstrate it for me? The actress named Shu Qin, who was standing not far away, heard Yunjian's words. She was so angry that she shouted at Yunjian. Watch carefully. I'll only demonstrate once. Yunjian really walked over there. The actress on the other side was stunned. When Yunjian got there and came face to face with the male actor who was the actress's rival just now, the people around them were stunned. Pfft! You think you've been an assassin just because you studied in a military school? You're really amazing. Does that mean that if I studied in a key high school, I'm the top scholar in the middle school entrance examination in the country? You. Before Situ Qing could finish her sentence, someone screamed, "Look, there." Hearing this, everyone around looked over there, only to see that Yunjian's eyes were sharp in the next second. The actor standing in front of her took 2 steps back in surprise. In the next breath, she strode forward and grabbed the prop sword in the actor's hand. She kicked the actor's knee with one foot and pinned him down with a backhand. This scene caused the surrounding crowd to be somewhat astonished. Especially Situ Qing, her pupils constricted. However, this was not the end. After the actor who was pinned down came to his senses, he raised his head and stared at Yunjian with his eyes wide open. In front of everyone, he said in a panic, "I have 15 years of martial arts foundation. Unfortunately, I once met a senior assassin. At that time, I couldn't last more than 10 moves against that senior assassin. In the end, I risked my life to save myself." Chapter 1579. As soon as the male actor said that, the people around them were shocked. Situ Qing and the actress Shu Qin, in particular, looked as terrible as charcoal. "I'll be a soldier in the future." At that moment, Yunjian narrowed her eyes and said calmly, "Little girl, you're going to be a soldier in the future? Which school are you studying in, Lu?" After watching Yunjian's move just now, the director clapped his hands at her and made his way to them. Yunjian's words changed the topic of Yunjian being an assassin. That was right. How could such a young girl be an assassin? My friend is studying in Min City's military academy. She's amazing. You'll know who she is if you go to her school and ask for her name. He. Ning Lanlan walked over and hugged Yunjian's shoulder. She turned around and glared at Situ Qing as if she was standing up for Yunjian. Situ Qing and the actress Shu Qin did not look too good. Min City's military academy? Little girl, you're amazing. You're studying in Min City's military academy. You'll be a great soldier when you grow up. Study hard and bring glory to the country. The director glanced at Yunjian with admiration. I will. Yunjian narrowed her eyes. As Yunjian spoke to the director, Situ Qing and the actress Shu Qin did not look too good. All right. Shu Qin, continue. Did you see what this little girl demonstrated for you? Do what she did just now. Bring out your aura. Act well. After speaking to Yunjian and Ning Lanlan, the director turned around with a thin script and waved it up and down to get the actors to continue. Situ Qing was left standing on the spot. Her expression was extremely grim. As it turned out, Yunjian had given her a hard slap in the face. Situ Qing was a stubborn person. After what happened just now, she was suddenly enraged. She turned around and walked down Longting Mountain. Situ Qing's boyfriend saw that and quickly chased after her. Qingqing, where are you going? Slow down. Don't throw a tantrum. Situ Qing refused to continue strolling around Longting Mountain, so she left with her boyfriend. Situ Qing's boyfriend was Xiao Jiming's friend. Xiao Jiming smiled awkwardly and said to Yunjian and Ning Lanlan, don't mind them. Let's continue shopping. Dragon Soaring Mountain had great scenery. Yun Jian, Ning Lan Lan, and the others spent the whole afternoon there and went home at 3:00 in the afternoon. When they arrived at the foot of Soaring Dragon Mountain, Xiao Jiming invited Ning Lan Lan to walk around alone. Ning Lan Lan was over the moon. Seeing that, Yun Jian left first. Yun Jian did not go home but went to Qin Yu's suite instead. Qin Yu stayed in Longmen City now, participating in the management of both New Cruise and Falcon Hall. Yun Jian came over to tell her something. However, just as they arrived at the door of Qin Yu's luxurious suite, Si Luo's voice came from inside. I'm not leaving. I want to stay with Sister Qin Yu and Sister Gu Nian. Sister Qin Yu said that men and women shouldn't touch each other. I don't want to stay with you, I don't want to sleep with you. This isn't right. Yun Jian heard what Si Luo said to Shuaing before she even stepped through the door. Her eyes flickered. Yun Jian had just reached the door when she saw Shuang grabbing Si Luo's wrist. The scar on his neck could be vaguely seen. Shuang frowned at Si Luo's words. He did not look happy, but he held Si Luo's delicate wrist forcefully. He only spoke in a domineering tone after Si Luo was done speaking. You have to stay with me no matter what. Why? I don't want to stay with you. Let go of me, let go of me. Si Luo shrunk back in fear, still not daring to meet Shuaying's eyes. Shuang was indeed a man who did not know how to speak. He twitched his lips a few times but did not utter the words "because I like you." Sister Qin Yu said that we can't stay together, much less sleep together. Otherwise, I won't be able to get married. Si Luo panicked, trying to pull her hand back from Shuaying's grip. Unexpectedly, Shuang pulled Si Luo to him in a huff after hearing her and pinched her chin with his other hand, hissing through gritted teeth. Chapter 1580. Looking at Shuang, Si Luo was a little scared. She was about to say something to Shuang when she saw Yun Jian standing at the door. Sister Yun Jian, help me talk to him. I don't want to leave. I want to stay with Sister Qin Yu and Sister Gu Nian. I don't want to stay with him. Looking at Yun Jian, Si Luo pressed her lips together. She did look like a pitiful little wife. Si Luo was just an ordinary girl with zero love history, not to mention knowing why Shuang was treating her like this. Si Luo was afraid that Shuang would do this to her. After hearing what Shuang said, she was even more terrified. She felt like Shuang was going to kill her. Young madam, I can listen to your orders for anything else, but you don't have to care about this. Shuang said in a serious tone. Yun Jian narrowed her eyes and glanced at Qin Yu and Gu Nianji, who were hiding on the side without saying a word, giggling with their hands over their mouths. Feeling thick-skinned, she uttered softly in a very unkind tone. I didn't see anything. Didn't see anything? To hell with it. She saw everything, right? Qin Yu and Gu Nian, who were sitting on the sofa, smirked at Yun Jian. In the end, Si Luo was taken away by Shuang in her final struggle. After Si Luo was taken away by Shuang, Yun Jian went to Qin Yu and Gu Nian. Sister Jian, you're so kind. Qin Yu teased Yun Jian. Do you want to go to Africa? Yun Jian sat on the sofa and turned to look at Qin Yu with a smirk. Don't, Sister Jian. You can't do that. Qin Yu shook her head quickly, almost freaking out from Yun Jian's words. When she was done teasing, Qin Yu's expression turned grim as she reported to Yun Jian about the recent information collected by the Kosha mercenaries. Sister Jian, Master asked me to tell you that there's an assassin organization called Blood Doll in Southeast Asia recently. It's taking down other organizations in Southeast Asia in the shortest time possible and has become the top organization in Southeast Asia. During this period, the Blood Doll had interfered with the Kosha mercenaries' missions many times. He even left behind cards written in blood to provoke us. But even our Kosha mercenaries' intelligence team can't find out anything about the Blood Doll. What should we do next? Qin Yu's master was Snake. Lizard. The blood doll that Qin Yu mentioned was a new assassin organization in Southeast Asia. His origin was unknown. The purpose is unknown. The motive is unknown. Recently, the blood doll had interfered with the Kosha mercenaries' missions many times. His motive seemed to be deliberately interfering with the Kosha mercenaries' operations. Blood doll? Yun Jian narrowed her eyes and said these 3 words calmly. Yes. Qin Yu nodded. Yun Jian narrowed her eyes and said softly, stay put and wait for the enemy to make the first move. Southeast Asia was located in the southeast of Asia. There were a total of 11 countries. The Kosha mercenaries and Han organization's branches were located far away from Southeast Asia. That was why the blood doll could develop in Southeast Asia. Of course, the rise and fall of assassin organizations was a common occurrence. Yun Jian could not and would not care about it. However, the blood doll had been provoking the Kosha mercenaries again and again when it was still in its development stage. A smart person would not have done that. The blood doll must have its own reasons for doing so. Yun Jian was not stupid. Of course, she would not choose to attack the blood doll directly. I'll inform Master right away. Qin Yu nodded at Yun Jian. Yun Jian nodded. It was already 4 p.m. when Yun Jian returned home. Ce was not around, so Yun Jian went to Gu Yunjian's mansion. Qin Yiru had already prepared dinner when she entered Gu Yunjian's mansion. There was only Yun Jian, Qin Yiru, and Xiao Yunzhu for dinner. Gu Junjian should still be out on a mission. Xiao Jian, I'm planning to let Xiao Zhu and the others stay at your Auntie Dong Ruan's house for a few days tomorrow. Your aunt is sick and she doesn't have any relatives or friends outside the province. I'm planning to take a ride with your grandma to visit her. Chapter 1581. Qin Yiru rarely interacted with her relatives and friends. Her friends whom she visited frequently were only Dong Ruan and Mrs. Yang. Other than that, she rarely interacted with her maternal relatives. Gu Yunjian's parents were both dead and she did not have any visiting relatives. Therefore, she rarely visited her relatives and friends. Therefore, Qin Yiru cherished her family very much. Even if her mother, Yun Jian's grandmother, Zhang Meihua, had been cruel to her in the past. Yun Jian's grandmother, Zhang Meihua, gave birth to 4 children. The eldest daughter was Qin Junlan, the second son was Qin Liqian, the third daughter was Qin Yiru, and the fourth daughter was Qin Fangfang. Qin Yiru was the third. Ever since the previous incident, the only person who was close to Qin Yiru was her fourth sister, Qin Fangfang. Qin Fangfang was Yun Jian's aunt. Back then, Qin Fangfang and Qin Yiru were very close. They were so close that they could talk about anything. Later on, Qin Fangfang married out of the province. Qin Yiru only visited Qin Fangfang's family during the New Year. Their relationship gradually faded. When Yun Jian's new cruise was first established, there was a car exhibition. Qin Fangfang's husband's family owned a car marketing company, so she came over to take a look. Since then, Yun Jian had never seen her aunt again. Mom, I'll go with you, Yun Jian spoke up after Qin Yiru spoke up. Yun Jian still remembered that Qin Fangfang was very nice to Qin Yiru back then. However, Qin Fangfang's mother-in-law mocked Qin Yiru in every possible way. Later on, when they found out that Yun Jian was the director of New Cruise, they stopped. Yun Jian was afraid that Qin Yiru would be bullied again if she followed them. Coincidentally, she was given a few days off, so she could find some time to go with them. Moreover, Qin Fangfang treated Qin Yiru quite well. She was going to visit her aunt. Sure, let's go together if Xiao Jian is willing to go. I've only been there 2 or 3 times and the environment is pretty good. It'll take about 13 hours to get there by train. It's a little far but it's okay. Qin Yiru said. Qin Yiru was still a country bumpkin in her bones. She was used to taking the train when she went out for a long trip. For Qin Yiru, an advanced means of transportation like the plane was still quite extravagant. Yun Jian didn't mention that she was going there by plane. She would arrive there in 2 hours at most. She also wanted to experience the feeling of riding a train. After chatting with Qin Yiru, Yun Jian went to look for Zhang Xiaofeng, Chen Sini, and Ling Yichen that night. Every time Yun Jian returned to Longmen City, she would look for Zhang Xiaofeng. Zhang Xiaofeng was her first disciple. She did not expect Zhang Xiaofeng to become a big shot in the international rankings. At the very least, she wanted Zhang Xiaofeng to become someone who was comparable to a high-level assassin. Zhang Xiaofeng had indeed fulfilled her initial wish. He did not complain about being tired. Chen Sini was the same as before, always teasing Zhang Xiaofeng. The next day, Yun Jian, Qin Yiru, and Zhang Meihua, who had come to Longmen City, took the train to her aunt Qin Fengfeng's husband's home. Pudong City, Gan Province. Gan Province was a moderately prosperous province, and Pudong City was considered one of the most developed areas in the province. Pudong City was where Yun Jian's aunt Qin Fengfeng's home was located. Taking bus number 13, Yun Jian, Qin Yiru, and Zhang Meihua arrived at Qin Fengfeng's husband's home. Qin Fengfeng's husband was also in the car marketing business and was considered a wealthy family. Her family lived in a villa and could be considered as one of the most affluent families. Just as they arrived, Zhang Meihua led Yun Jian and Qin Yiru into the house with familiarity. Just as they entered, they saw Qin Fengfeng's mother-in-law, Zhu Hengxiang, standing not far away, greeting a large group of people. These people looked to be Zhu Hengxiang's relatives and friends, both adults and children. Mother-in-law, where's my daughter? Zhang Meihua quickly brought Yun Jian and Qin Yiru over to ask. Chapter 1582. Zhu Hengxiang was Qin Fengfeng's mother-in-law. She had been to Longmen City the last time, so she knew Yun Jian. Zhu Hengxiang shuddered the moment she saw Yun Jian. She glanced at Zhang Meihua before averting her eyes to the side, obviously feeling guilty. Yun Jian could tell right away. She raised a brow without saying a word. Zhang Meihua had always been proud that her fourth daughter, Qin Fengfeng, had married into a good family. When Zhang Meihua saw Zhu Hengxiang, it was as if she had seen her own daughter. She reached out to grab Zhu Hengxiang's hand excitedly and continued to butter her up. Oh, my in-law, we're so close. You don't have to be so courteous. I heard that my daughter is sick, so I came to take a look. As she spoke, Zhang Meihua took out a bag of bananas she bought from the roadside and shoved it into Zhu Hengxiang's hand. Here, in-law, we bought these just now. They're fresh. Try them. Zhu Hengxiang's eyes darted around. She took the bananas from Zhang Meihua and stammered awkwardly, Oh, you're too kind, in-law, Hengxiang, who's this girl? She's so pretty. Which relative of yours is she? An old woman in her 50s or 60s, about the same age as Zhu Hengxiang, came over and asked. As she spoke, the old woman's eyes were trained on Yun Jian. Isn't this my daughter-in-law's elder sister's daughter? Zhu Hengxiang said to the old woman beside her. Your daughter-in-law's elder sister's daughter? Hengxiang, isn't your daughter-in-law? The old woman blurted out when Zhu Hengxiang mentioned Qin Fengfeng. Cough, cough, cough. It's nothing. We're all family. Come and have some fruits first. I remember that you're Yun Jian. Come in, there are a few girls and boys about your age over there. Go over and have some fun. Zhu Hengxiang said as she gestured for Qin Yiru to bring Yun Jian to the sofa. On the other side of the sofa were Zhu Hengxiang's relatives and friends who had come to visit. A few of them were young girls and boys who were about the same age as Yun Jian. No, in-law, where is my daughter? Zhang Meihua asked again as Zhu Hengxiang pushed her to sit on the sofa. Fengfeng, she went out with Baiwen to buy something. She'll be back soon. Zhu Hengxiang rolled her eyes and quickly said. Yun Jian and Qin Yiru were sitting on the sofa. Yun Jian narrowed her eyes. Zhu Hengxiang's flaw was too obvious. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that she was up to something. Could it be, something happened to Qin Fangfang? Hey, what's your name? A young man sitting opposite Yun Jian looked up at Yun Jian and asked. This young man was obviously the child of one of Zhu Hengxiang's relatives. He was about the same age as Yun Jian. My daughter's name is Yun Jian. Qin Yiru was quite polite. She nodded at the young man and said. Huh, Zijia, you really want to flirt with girls wherever you go. Another young man sitting next to him said to the young man who asked for Yun Jian's name. The young man who asked for Yun Jian's name was Hang Zijia. He was the son of one of Zhu Hengxiang's relatives. Brother Zijia, didn't you buy a new laptop? Hurry up and take it out for everyone to see. Hang Zijia was just asking for Yun Jian's name. At this moment, a young girl sitting next to him glared at Yun Jian and said to Hang Zijia smugly. Computers in 1999 were not cheap, especially laptops. It was rare for an adult to have a laptop in their hands, let alone a child who had such a valuable item. When Hang Zijia heard this, he quickly took out his laptop from the side, opened the lid, and turned it on. Wait, let me install a program. Hang Zijia glanced at Yun Jian. Seeing that Yun Jian did not care about his laptop, he added another sentence. Wow, brother Zijia, you know how to install programs? You're as good as a hacker. The young girl said again. Installing programs and hacking were two completely different concepts. However, this young girl forcefully linked the two together. No, I'm embarrassed when you say that. Hang Zijia glanced at Yun Jian again and scratched his head. Chapter 1583. After hearing what Hang Zijia said, Yun Jian curled her lips slightly and didn't reply. Zijia Gij, I think she probably hasn't come into contact with a laptop before. At most, she used a computer or two in school, the girl from before added. Duo, don't say that, Hang Zijia restrained the girl's words. This girl's name was Wang Duo. She looked about a year younger than Yun Jian, about 15 years old. Hang Zijia and Wang Duo's families weren't poor, especially Hang Zijia's family. Thinking about it, Hang Zijia was able to afford a laptop. From this point, it could be seen that Hang Zijia's family was definitely not too poor. I'm just telling the truth, Wang Duo glanced at Hang Zijia and said innocently. Oh right, Zi Hang, isn't your brother a hacker? I heard that 2 years ago, he used a computer to hack into a large company's technology department and was reported to be in jail for half a year. How's he doing now? The boy sitting next to Hang Zijia asked. As he asked, he glanced at Yun Jian from the corner of his eye. Boys in their youth all had a common problem, which was that they liked to show off in front of girls. The boy sitting next to Hang Zijia was called Duan Qingxian. He was tall and well-built with a lean body. His looks were all right and he looked like a delicate-looking teenager. Seeing his brother being so cooperative, Hang Zijia smiled and said, My brother is just like that. Now that he's out of prison, he's going to work in a large company. He won't dare to casually hack into the technology department of other companies, lest he gets caught and squatted in jail again. Young boys and girls mainly talked about things that were strange. Whoever said something strange would be the most successful at showing off. Take Hang Zijia for example. Not only did Hang Zijia think that his brother was a hacker, but others also thought that it was unheard of and that it was amazing. More importantly, he even thought that his brother had been in jail before and was different from others. This was something worth showing off about. Your brother was in jail before? Sure enough, the moment Hang Zijia said that, another girl beside him asked curiously. Hang Zijia said something to the girls then turned to look at Yun Jian. However, seeing that Yun Jian didn't move at all, he couldn't help but have some doubts in his heart. Why was she the same as other girls? Wasn't she curious or surprised? Shouldn't they be chasing after him and asking him all sorts of questions? Wow, I suddenly feel that hackers are amazing. Brother Zijia, you should learn from your brother and learn all his hacking skills. That sounds so cool. Wang Duo said again with a look of admiration. Yun Jian pursed her lips and remained silent. That's right. I really want to know who's the best hacker in the world. Duan Qingxian, who was sitting next to them, added, his eyes shining. I asked my brother about this question, and my brother told me about it. Heng Zijie said exaggeratedly. Who? At this moment, all the young boys and girls looked over. Everyone wanted to know the answer to this question. Yun Jian, do you know? Heng Zijie saw that Yun Jian simply closed her eyes. He couldn't accept that Yun Jian wasn't surprised by what he said, so he asked again. I don't know. Yun Jian directly replied with 3 words. My brother said that the best hacker's account name is SS, but no one knows who she is. No one can find out her background. I think she should be a very powerful hermit. Heng Zijie said proudly. His words were bragging as if the person he was talking about was himself. Wow. Is that true? She's that good? The young boys and girls beside them exclaimed. Of course. My brother is amazing, right? He said that he can't even compare to a millionth of the person with the account name SS. And I heard that the person with the account name SS has broken into the national defense systems of countless countries. Her hacking skills are so cool that it's off the charts. There was once when she directly disintegrated a large country's armed forces equipment in just a few minutes. Chapter 1584. This person called SS is so powerful. The people around immediately exclaimed, especially Wang Duo and Duan Qingxian, who helped Heng Zijie show off his brother's abilities. They were now covering their mouths and exaggerating. Girls and boys like Wang Duo and Duan Qingxian liked to make a big fuss whenever they encountered something. Hacker was a new term that everyone came into contact with. In the past, when the internet was not developed, hackers naturally did not exist. Now, with the development of the internet, the term hacker gradually appeared in people's eyes. Yeah, in the world of hackers, that SS ability has reached a level that no one can surpass. My brother said that the top hackers in the world joined forces and tried to break SS system to find out the true identity of SS. Guess what happened in the end? Heng Zijie saw that Yun Jian's eyes were closed and now she opened them. He thought that Yun Jian must be interested in what he said, so he spoke more enthusiastically. For a guy like Heng Zijie, to be able to show off in front of a beautiful girl and make the other party feel that he was very powerful, this was a very satisfying thing. However, Yun Jian only opened her eyes and did not say anything. She even slightly raised her red lips and did not say anything. What happened next? Brother Zijie, only you know the result here. Don't keep us in suspense. Wang Duo heard Heng Zijie's words and instantly felt very proud of her good relationship with Heng Zijie. She said in a slightly coquettish tone. In the end, those top hackers who joined forces were directly blocked by SS system in less than 30 seconds. Even the computer screen went black. They are all top-notch hackers. They are professionals and should be able to break SS ban. But SS' ability is who knows how many times stronger than them. They couldn't fight back at all. Heng Zijie said while paying attention to the reactions of the girls around him. He saw that the girls around him widened their eyes in surprise, and some even made a sound. His self-esteem was greatly satisfied. Oh right, my brother will be here in the afternoon. I can let my brother show you his hacking skills. Heng Zijie added another sentence. Hearing this, the boys and girls around him instantly felt their blood boil. Yun Jian was the only one who remained seated. She narrowed her eyes and curled her red lips. What hacker? Auntie doesn't understand. You children are all so smart. Auntie's generation can't understand these new things at all. Only children like you will be able to learn it in a short time. Qin Yura glanced at the laptop in Heng Zijie's hand and sighed with emotion. However, when Qin Yiru said this, no one paid any attention to her. Mom, if you want to study computers, I can teach you, Yun Jian said to Qin Yiru after hearing Qin Yiru's words. Okay, Mom has to keep up with the trend, haha. Qin Yiru readily accepted Yun Jian's words. Qin Yiru was not an old-fashioned person. She was willing to accept things from the new era, which might be different from some parents. You have a laptop at home? You know how to use a computer? Unexpectedly, just as Yun Jian and Qin Yiru finished speaking, Hang Zijia and Wang Duo exclaimed. Duan Xingxian and other people around Yun Jian's age also looked at Yun Jian. Everyone was slightly surprised. After all, in this era, there were not many people who could afford a computer. Hang Zijia's family was one of the wealthiest in Pudong City. There are 3 or 4 computers at home. They are all placed there and not used. Although Auntie is old, I still want to learn. Since I bought this computer, I don't want to waste it. Qin Yiru smiled at everyone. Those computers were all bought by Yun Jian. She used the 3 or 4 computers to tie all the systems together and operate the programs to perform the best hacking skills. However, when the surrounding people heard Qin Yiru's words, they were all stunned. Yun Jian had 3 or 4 computers at home? Chapter 1585. Qin Yiru's unintentional words shocked Hang Zijia, Wang Duo, and Duan Xingxian. After all, among the group of people present, only Hang Zijia's family could afford a laptop. In this day and age, people couldn't even live a good life, let alone spend the money to buy a laptop and enjoy life. Hang Zijia's family background was one of the best in Pudong City, so it wasn't surprising that he could afford a laptop, which was considered a rather high-tech and luxurious item in this era. However, Yun Jian and Qin Yiru didn't dress badly today. Qin Yiru even picked out the most expensive outfit she had and changed into it. She was here to visit her younger sister, Qin Fangfang, after all. Naturally, Qin Yiru could not embarrass her maiden family for the latter. Therefore, when Hang Zijia and the others saw Qin Yiru and Yun Jian's clothes, they could accept the fact that Yun Jian had 3 or 4 laptops at home. Oh right, Brother Zijia. Didn't you say that your brother was going to open an internet cafe? Wang Duo glared at Yun Jian and spoke up to Hang Zijia, feeling indignant. Open an internet cafe? How many laptops would he need to buy? That would cost a lot of money. A middle-aged woman in her 40s heard Wang Duo's words and said in shock. Most of the people present came from the countryside and weren't rich. This middle-aged woman knew the price of laptops. When Wang Duo said that Hang Zijia's brother was going to open an internet cafe, she couldn't help but exclaim. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, Hang Zijia glanced at Yun Jian, who closed her eyes again. He swallowed and said in a slightly boastful tone, "My brother doesn't want to use the money from his parents. He wants to use his own strength." Before Hang Zijia could finish his sentence, a 25-year-old man walked into Zhu Hengxiang's house. He was handsome, about 1.79 meters tall, and had a lean appearance. This man looked 90% similar to Hang Zijia. When the man walked in, his good looks attracted the attention of the girls sitting on the sofa beside Yun Jian. Wow! So handsome. Oh my god, that person looks like you. Hang Zijia, he is your hacker brother, right? Seeing Hang Zijia's brother, the group of girls sitting beside Yun Jian asked Hang Zijia excitedly. Brother. Seeing that the girls around him were excited to see his brother, Hang Zijia was very proud. He stood up from the sofa and walked over to greet him. Yun Jian opened her eyes slightly, but she still didn't make a sound. This is my brother, Hang Ziliang. My brother's hacking skills are very good. I can show you now. Glancing at Yun Jian who had opened her eyes, Hang Zijia spoke more and more enthusiastically. Sure enough, his brother was his best asset to show off. Wow! Hackers. I always thought that hackers were people we would never be able to come into contact with. I didn't expect that I would be able to see a real hacker. Someone exclaimed in surprise. Hang Ziliang didn't need to ask to know what had happened. He smiled at the crowd and greeted, "Hello, everyone. Brother. Come here. Why don't you demonstrate your hacking skills to everyone?" Hang Zijie pulled Hang Ziliang to his laptop and then stuffed his laptop into Hang Ziliang's hand and said, "What do you want to see?" Hang Ziliang didn't beat around the bush. He sat down and said, "Look, the kid over there is playing games on the computer. Do you have a way to make his screen black?" A girl suggested. Zhu Yuxiang's family is very rich. There are several computers next to this large living room. Everyone is not surprised. At this moment, a little brother is sitting in front of the computer and playing games like crazy. What's so difficult about this? Hang Ziliang smiled and then began to operate the laptop in his hand. He first downloaded a Trojan horse software and then operated it. Hang Ziliang operated for 10 minutes before opening the operating system. Then he began to use the system to search for the ID address of the computer, used the port scanner to determine which ports the other party opened, and analyzed the operating system used by the other party. Is it done? Someone couldn't wait to see the results. Wait for me for a while. Hang Ziliang opened his mouth. There were small beads of sweat on his forehead as he spoke. Back then, it had taken him half a year to hack that company's technical department. This procedure alone would take at least half an hour to an hour to complete. Chapter 1586. After this female voice rang out, the surrounding group of people were startled. Then, they turned their heads towards the source of this female voice. Yun Jian had her hands behind her head as she leaned back on the sofa. She pursed her lips as she spoke. "You." Hang Ziliang stopped what he was doing and looked at Yun Jian in shock. Before Hang Ziliang could speak, Hang Ziliang's younger brother, Hang Zijie, exclaimed to Yun Jian, "Yun Jian, you know how to hack too?" Everyone turned to look at Yun Jian as soon as Hang Zijie finished his sentence. Yun Jian knew how to hack too. Hang Zijie's brother, Hang Ziliang, had been learning how to hack for close to 10 years. He started learning when he was 15 and that was how he got to where he was today. What about Yun Jian? She sounded like she knew how to hack, but if she really knew how to hack, how old was she when she started learning? 5? 6? Pfft. If Yun Jian really started learning how to hack when she was 5 or 6, even an idiot would know how to striptease. Everyone was waiting for Yun Jian's explanation. Qin Yiru, on the other hand, was not that surprised. She knew that her daughter was the director of new crews and had a lot of contact with computers. It was not surprising that she knew how to hack. That was right. Qin Yiru thought that she knew how to hack if she knew how to use computers. She did not know the difference between using computers and hacking. Qin Yiru was not to be blamed. Women in this era usually did not know how to use computers. In other words, even if there was a computer at home, Qin Yiru would not know how to use it. While everyone was sizing her up, Yun Jian was still sitting there lazily. She replied calmly, "I know a thing or two." If those international guys knew that SS had the audacity to say that she only knew a little about hacking in front of a large group of people, those guys would probably vomit blood in anger. What did she mean by only knowing a thing or two? Yes, she knew a thing or two about hacking. The moment she started, she broke into the national defense digital system of a big country. In the end, she even forced the other party to beg her for mercy and ask for the system to retreat. So you also have some understanding of hacking techniques. Hang Ziliang's hands trembled as he operated the computer system. He put it down and told Yun Jian, "Don't worry about it." Hang Ziliang was already sweating all over. It would take him at least half an hour to an hour to lock onto a computer and turn it into a black screen. However, what Yun Jian said just now surprised Hang Ziliang. 3 seconds of operation to black out the other side of the screen? Is this for real? Only the legendary SS would be able to hack that kid's computer screen in 3 seconds. The little girl sitting opposite him was probably bragging to him, right? Hang Ziliang was a little unhappy. Little girl, you're amazing. Why don't you give us a demonstration? Hang Ziliang exited all the system programs and then handed the computer to Yunjian. Hang Ziliang looked as if he was saying to Yunjian, you can do it, then give it a try. But in reality, what Yunjian said just now made Hang Ziliang feel a little disgusted. No one liked to be praised as weak, especially Hang Ziliang, who was an indomitable man. No need to bring the computer over. Yunjian's eyes moved slightly. She still put her hands behind her head and said to Hang Ziliang. Hearing Yunjian's words, Hang Ziliang couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. The people around, including Hang Ziliang, were secretly complaining in their hearts. Yunjian definitely didn't know anything, she was pretending to know. However, just when everyone thought that Yunjian was pretending to know, Yunjian suddenly leaned forward. She reached out and pressed 5 keys on the computer that Hang Ziliang was holding. It only took 3 seconds. Chapter 1587. Mom. Mom. My computer is broken. I want to play games. I want to play games. Hurry up and fix it. I'm so angry. On the other side, the little boy sitting in front of the computer was so angry that he smashed the keyboard and roared at the woman in front of him because of the black screen. Being interrupted in the middle of a game was the most intolerable thing. Especially children who were addicted to games, the thing they hated the most was the computer suddenly turning black in the middle of a game. The little boy roared and the adults beside him immediately ran over. It was obvious that this little boy was the apple of his family's eye. Baby, what's wrong? What's wrong? The little boy's mother hurriedly ran over. Computer. The computer froze. Hurry up and fix it. I want to play. The little boy had just pointed at the computer screen and spoke to his mother when the computer screen had already recovered from the black screen. Oh, my little baby, you don't have a fever, do you? The mother was so scared that she quickly pressed her lips against the little boy's forehead and used her lips to feel the little boy's temperature. Not far away, Yunjian had just retracted her hand from the laptop's keyboard. The people sitting around maintained their usual dumbfounded expressions. They saw with their own eyes that Yunjian had tapped 5 times on the laptop's keyboard. In just 3 seconds, the little boy's computer screen had turned black. Then Yunjian pressed 2 more times on the computer and the little boy's computer recovered. How could you use such a fast speed to find the other party's computer ID and cause the screen to turn black? Hang Ziliang was scared silly. He stared blankly at Yunjian and said these words in a daze. I've been in this industry for so long and I've never seen anyone with a hand speed comparable to yours. Hang Ziliang said these 2 sentences in professional language, so the people around him didn't really understand. When Hang Ziliang said this, Hang Zijia, Wang Duo, Duan Xingxian, and the others who were sitting around him all sucked in a breath. Brother, what she did just now, can't you do it? Hang Zijia turned his head to look at his brother, whom he admired very much, and asked. Could his brother not be able to hack a computer screen as quickly as Yunjian? Yunjian's actions just now were simply too cool. As soon as Hang Zijia finished speaking, everyone turned to look at Hang Ziliang. Outsiders might not understand, but Hang Ziliang was an insider. Moreover, Hang Ziliang was very powerful. He had once hacked into a large company's technical department. Therefore, everyone present was waiting for Hang Ziliang's evaluation of Yunjian. Brother Ziliang, you can definitely do what she did just now, right? After Wang Duo saw Yunjian's move just now, she was a little unconvinced, so she looked sideways at Hang Ziliang and said very intimately. The surrounding people also thought so. Hang Ziliang was such a powerful person. How could he not be better than a little girl like Yunjian? Seeing that everyone was looking at him, Hang Ziliang smiled bitterly. Then, he shook his head at the crowd and didn't struggle. It seems that I only know a little about hacking skills. I don't think I'll be able to surpass her in this lifetime. I've heard about her hacking skills from my mentor before. It's very difficult. Just remotely controlling a computer screen to turn black was still okay, but if it was a large-scale hacker versus hacker battle, the slightest mistake could even ignite one's own computer and cause the computer to explode. Hang Ziliang's words were imprinted in everyone's hearts. For a moment, the surroundings were incomparably quiet. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.